Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, anywhere in the world. Welcome to Pen. Guys, I'm not going to say it here. We don't want you guys to know what we're doing. But when you walk into Pen Properties, just
affordable insurance company? Then look no further. Peter Massaco Insurance, located in central New Jersey, is one of the best around. Peter Massaco Insurance specializes in homeowners insurance, auto insurance, life insurance, business insurance, and many more. We even offer a free financial planning consultation. We partner with over 20 top-rated companies to make sure we provide affordable prices to our clients. We have a full bilingual staff to fit your needs as well. Let Peter Massaco Insurance help you today.
Good afternoon. The guy left my 1 year. Good afternoon and welcome to another edition of the Closing Argument. Today is Tuesday, September 5th, 2023. And just had a long weekend, holiday weekend, Labor Day in the USA. And everybody, they call it the last weekend of summer as we get into the fall season. But a lot's been going on in our country's political landscape. With 35 days to go, we see all the candidates are crisscrossing the country, making the case to the people, to the voters, about why they should be elected as president of our country, and also senators and representatives to head our first branch of government. We've seen everyone taking it every day. They're moving on the trail. We see, in fact, almost all the candidates, the top candidates, they are drawing huge crowds. Again, if you have followed Liberian politics, you know that don't get carried away too much by the crowd. At the end of the day, it's on voting day, what matters. That's you go to the voting booth and cast your vote. All these people that are showing up at these rallies, will they be voting on election day? We don't know. Some people may not go. Some people may attend. Some people will go and vote for the candidate of the choice. But now with 35 days to go, it is certain that about 60% of the voters already know who they're going to vote for. No matter what the candidates would do wrong right now, they will vote for the person. The seditions, the reactions, they know that they're voting for President Weah. They're not going to change it. The diehard not going to change. Whether President Weah blunder today or tomorrow, they're not going to change it. They're going to vote for him. Same with Cummings. The CPP folks already know that Mr. Cummings is their choice. They will vote for him. No matter what happens, they're going to vote for him. They're not going to change their vote either. Same with Unity Party of former Vice President Boyka. They already know that they'll vote for him. They're not going to change their vote. Right now, the 40% is the one that they are the ones that people are fighting for to ensure that they were convinced in the last 35 days to get the votes. You got some people are sitting on the fence. Some people are considered independent. Some people belong to no party. They are voting on the issues that matters to them in the country. Some people will be voting based on the last few days to make a decision. There are people who will go to the voting booth on election day and make the decision on that day. There are some people who they will say they will wait until the last minute. If any one of these candidates blunder, any one of them blunder before election day, they can change some of the voters' minds. Say, look, I'm not going to cast my vote for that person. So right now, it's all about making what we call the compelling and convincing case to the voters why my guy should be elected president. So we expecting to have the CDC campaign, national campaign chairman, Len Eugene Nangbe, as our guest tonight. He appeared last Friday, but due to internet issues, he was in Grand Bassa County. We couldn't continue with the show, so we rescheduled for today. So we're looking forward to have Mr. Nangbe on the show tonight with us, and the rest of the panelists will be joining us soon. But in the meantime, let me welcome some of our guests who joined us already. We have Big Smoke Good Williams. Wow, he watching from Putin country, Moscow, Russia. Oh my God. Big Smoke Good Williams watching from Moscow, Russia. We got Kolakeville. Oh, my boy George Kilby. He and I, this weekend we're in Delaware for our St. Peter Clever's Catholic School reunion. George Kilby, we had a nice time with our former schoolmates, classmates from the St. Peter Clever's Catholic Mission School in Grand Bassa County. Had a reunion this weekend in Newark, Delaware, and people came from all over the states, various states, to do a lot for our school back home. We raised a lot of money to help our school back home and our folks back home in Grand Bassa County. Abdul Tor, he led our fundraising efforts. He did a great job. And also I want to thank, in his public manner, Fatu Tor. She did a great job as chairleader of the organizing committee of this year convention. She and Hassan Tor and the rest of the folks in Delaware, they did a very great job this weekend in hosting the St. Peter Clever's reunion. Guys, you guys are awesome, and we look forward to next year in North Dakota. Fargo will be going there for our convention next year on Labor Day weekend. Fargo, prepare for us. Delaware did their share and they performed well. So look forward to coming to Fargo next year for the reunion. George Kilby, good to see you. I see my big brother, Kenan Phillips, watching from Houston, Texas. He's the senior policy advisor to the independent candidate Robbie Morris and Cecilia Coffee Brown campaign team. Welcome, Kenan. I also see Binta Ability, strong CPP supporter. Also see Thompson B. Balls, watching from Sydney, Australia. Welcome, Sydney, Thompson. Cecilia V. Dollar. I also see Robin Draper. Okay. I see Joseph Conto. He asked me which camera I in. Joseph Conto, man. Right now, I can't turn my camera right now and tell because I was hosting this show, man. Everybody got to give their side right now, you know. But I'm there for Liberia in the meantime, right now. Garment Giflaw from Atlanta, Georgia. Eleanor Davis, Ambassador B.B. Jones, Edward Hall, Mount Sata Son, Dala Washington. It's symmetrically watching. Wow. I also see Asata Jala Washington. Yeah, I see Asata O. Dawson from Maryland, USA. Prince Taylor from Virginia, USA. Okay, Eleanor Davis again. Ben Besonga Kamara from Birmingham, UK. Wow. Joseph Bakpolu Pikin Belair from Congo Town. Mansada Son, watching from Ghana. Andrew Jigbe Wallow, watching from Sweden. Veronica Sigba, watching from Philadelphia. Oh, yeah, in my home state. See Joseph Kennedy. Yeah, God, man, had a great Labor Day weekend. Abdullah Dukle, David Yeke, Kitty Topogi from Baltimore City. Joseph Konyanin Paul, Yangbe To, my brother from Pennsylvania, brother To. Bilson Pay, Felicia Jabo Johnson, Frederick Tier, Bilson Pay, Abraham Siniako, yeah. Mohammed Jack Kennedy, Aaron George, my big brother Edwin Craw from Delaware. Lena Yempa, Edwin, I will hang out over the weekend too. Yeah, we're all together. Well, Dr. Peabody, welcome. Jackie, welcome to the closing argument this Tuesday, September 5th, right after the Labor Day weekend. I know you guys had a great weekend. I guess you guys can just tell us a few minutes what you guys did in the last couple of days. For me, I will start with myself. On Saturday, I had to rush to Maryland for Germantown for a funeral of my childhood friend, mother, Irene Dosler, lost her mother. I attended that funeral. I had to present an award at the Kennedy High Awards night in Pennsylvania. I came back for that award presentation where I presented the Media Personality of the Year. Berenice Marba, she did a great job. She was awesome. She did a good job putting that program together. It cost her a lot, and I hope next year she can get more support. And our man, Friday the Cell Phone Man, was in action. He performed at that program. I got to see CC Martin. I got to see her. She was there too, presenting the award too, and so forth. We had a nice time at that program. I also saw my big sister, my big brother, Miss Brother Nimble, and his wife, Lucretia. We had a nice time together. And then I had to go to Delaware for our school reunion, where I climaxed the day. Well, busy weekend for me. And then last night, of course, I had to meet my boy at the Peabody, and we chill. So, yeah, we had a nice time, Doc. And so end of the weekend like that. But Jackie, Peabody, tell us about your weekend. Then Jackie and Kev.
My weekend was fairly busy. Saturday, I hang out with the kids, took them to a movie, and then in the afternoon had a wedding downtown Philadelphia. Luxury, very beautiful wedding. Mr. and Mrs. Wiles got married, and they had a beautiful wedding downtown Philadelphia at a very beautiful place. And then Sunday they had a cookout, and then Monday they had a light refreshment at their home. So we spent it all day, and then I got to attend the United Liberian Association of Bucks County, Pennsylvania. They had a cookout for the kids yesterday, so I was there too. Very, very great program, and a lot of people who, they just love the folks from Closing Acumen. They were recognizing us, and I was there, and everybody was coming and greeting. So it was a nice weekend, relax, and lots of fun. It was great.
Great. Jackie?
Oh, yeah. The Labor Day weekend for me was awesome. Went out of town, spent time with family, in-laws, We had dinner, and it was awesome, and also very relaxing. That's awesome.
Kev,
Well, Labor Day, spent at home. Went to my regular spot, to Maka, and that was it.
of course, the chairman. Chairman in the news all weekend. Chairman, what's up?
I'm doing well, as you can see. Well rested. Had a great time this weekend. Um, what did we do this weekend? Oh, took the girls. We went on a little small. There's a little small resort here in the North Carolina, Outer Banks. I was at we went there and spent some time because there was the weekend was what 4 days. So yesterday we got back. Yesterday we got back in the afternoon. It was a great time. Great time. We had a great time. It was great scenery. Everybody was excited. Of course, I understand that there was a lot going on the internet in regards to me, but it comes with it comes with the territory. But it was a great weekend. It was a great weekend. I was really excited. I got a chance to take my kids to to do something they really love to do. So, but it was great. It was great. What about you, Tommy? What did you? Oh yeah, you did it. You did say you went.
Yeah.
You
And then
went,
and I have birthdays. My daughter's celebrated her 15th birthday. The next day with my sister, and then my daughter's mother. They all two, three, four. The birthday just in line. So they're all
Mhm.
birthday, but I was basic crisscrossing Maryland, Pennsylvania, and Delaware. Yeah. But that was a great weekend was not bad. And uh I just got this information. They said the United States acting chief of mission, who is the charge d'affaires, Christiane Catherine Rodriguez. She's been meeting with all the major players in the political, all the political major actors. She met with people from the government, I think, including the president, and also from some of his officials, including the foreign minister, also the Cummings team, GMB team, and I don't know what about the three names I'm hearing. And we are expecting an acting ambassador. He's not coming to supervise, but to mediate in case of any problem that may arise from the election. Ambassador designated Christopher Tuna. He's a American ambassador designated to Liberia. His confirmation is in the Senate, and he won't be taking office until after our election. So that process we have to go through it. But the U.S. take our election very serious, and they are going to send someone to come and make sure that everything is on course. But that's everybody watching this election. The Africa, they're all watching it now. The ECOWAS, the United Nations, European Union, and to see what happens in Liberia next 35 days. Um, some
35
people
days
believe
left.
that 35 days. Some people believe that they foresee them maybe because everybody claiming to win first round. Everybody claiming to win first round. They will win the election. So when people are all claim making this kind of a claim, you know that the question is, will any one of the parties accept the result of the elections? That's the question we'll be asking. I'll be asking any of these, everyone. Will they accept the election results based on the fact that they are all claiming that they will win this election, and they are drawing crowd from here, there, yonder. So again, guys, as we wait for the guests, Chairman,
Mhm.
so
Yeah, listen.
what are your thoughts about?
What the Americans, obviously, I think it's not a secret. We know the Americans have a huge interest in this election. There's a lot that has been invested over the last couple of years. Forever. America has a huge stake in what happens in Liberia. I think we were on the show here the last time with Rodney Sear when you heard me talk about the fact that they are very, very concerned. They're going to be making sure
that people are held accountable, both ways, making sure that the country is not plunged into any archonic situation. I don't think it's going to get to that. I think we always have these contentious processes that leads up to election day. You're going to see rallies happening. You're going to see people getting in the streets. You're going to see people are passionate about their respective candidates. So that you have to say, and it always comes down in that direction. But to say, I don't envisage any. I mean, maybe here and there may be few little people trying to misbehave here and there, but I don't think anything substantial is going to happen in the country. I think the country is going to go forward. I think you asked a question about whether people will accept the result. If you don't want to accept the result, there are legal remedies in the process, right? You go to court. We went to court. Liberty Party went to court. At the end of the day, the party disagreed with the ruling, with the verdict of the opinion, because the Supreme Court don't give verdicts. The Liberty Party disagreed with the opinions of the Supreme Court, but we respected the opinions of the Supreme Court because that's the final arbiter of law in our land. So I don't envisage any political party trying to say, well, we're not going to accept, because you're right to not accept, but you just can't cause trouble. In 2011, Tomalin, you are aware, the CDC boycotted the second round of the re-election of President Selly. It was their right to boycott the second round. That's the thing about democracy, So that's why sometimes, like, when I see people getting all hypertensive and worked up about these things, those of us who have some experience in this thing, we know, we've seen this movie before. There's nothing new here. People are passionate. At the end of the day, we're going to go to an election. We will have either a re-elected president. Somebody, if the re-elected president get re-elected, there will be a new president. At the end of the day, the country is going to move forward. So we're not going to countenance, and we're not going to encourage anybody saying that they're not going to, accept the results. I think the guest is in the background, so we can. But you can ask the question, and then maybe for the next couple of minutes, we can do it. So you still take the floor, because
guys,
may have to take a break at 5:30. I have a meeting, and I'll be right back with you guys.
Okay.
So Tommy,
guys, let's in 1 minute. Let's tell us, Jackie, what are your thoughts about people? You think people will accept the results of the election, or you think that you foresee any problem ahead of the elections, after the election, or so forth?
Well, all the political parties signed the Farmington agreement, and we expect everyone to hold up to that agreement. At the same time, in the agreement, the government of Liberia, the National Elections Commission, has to make sure and ensure that there is free, fair, and transparent election. That is part of the peace process. They have to make sure that all the magistrates, that all the people they hire are objective, and that nobody who's being hired under the National Elections Commission is biased in this process to compromise the process. So having said that, if the rule of law is followed, then we expect for it to be free, fair, and transparent, which also will allow all the political parties to say, okay, the result is what it is. But at the same time, if there are disputes, which is normal in the electoral process, there may be some disagreements. It's happened over the years, whether it's at the legislative level or at the presidential level. That's what the court system is there for. And we also expect our court system, the Supreme Court, to be, they say justice is blind, to put on the blindfold and rule blindly and fairly on behalf of the Liberian people and follow our constitution.
Kev, what are your thoughts? You think that everyone will accept the result of the election, or you think there will be any end of disturbance after the elections of October 10th?
Well, it's normal for a loser to complain, but under this government has a history of free and fair election. You can go back to 2020, all the elections. So unless people who just want to send red meat out there, but this government has a history of free and fair election. So, and this upcoming election, under this government will be free and fair.
Dr. Peabody.
Look, gentlemen, nobody wish for any violence to take place in our country after election. We have been through a lot. We have been through civil war. We have had a lot that taken place in Liberia. And to some point, I must give some credit to this government. We've had a couple of elections, even though they were not presidential elections. But under this government, we had two major elections. We had the midterm and other, and there have not been any issue of violence. So we hope that we can maintain that through the presidential election as well. I think the Liberian people don't want to go back, and I think some of those involved in coming all these comments about violence should be totally warned and should be discouraged, from some other leaders that we have listened to and all that. They need to be discouraged. We should not talk about violence. I think we need to promote peace. And if like Ben said earlier, if you think you were cheated in an election, you have your law, you go to the court, but do not. I don't think there'll be violence. We have had elections and there have been no violence. So we hope that they will continue on that path as well.
And Tommy, I just want to
Well,
say something. Tommy, I want to
go
say
ahead.
something. One of the things that, and I think the guests, we need to we need to let him know. In about 2 minutes or so, they will be bringing the guests on. But one of the things that I wanted to say, and I wanted to buttress what you said earlier, Tommy, is there's also a responsibility here. I know I heard Jackie very clearly. She was spot on when she talked about the fact that it is a responsibility of the government, and it's also a responsibility of the National Elections Commission to be a very fair referee in this process. She was spot on, but there's also responsibility on the parts of the political parties. Political parties should make sure that they have poll watchers at every polling center, so that if you have a problem, you are able to use your tally sheets, the records, the sheets to be able to, because you can't go and challenge a process based on hearsay or they say. You can't go and challenge, right? You got to be able to have poll watchers across the country, across all your polling centers. If you see discrepancies, then you have the ability to be able to raise those things. But I just wanted to include that this issue of peace and free and fair election is a shared responsibility across the board. Civil society has a role to play. The media has a role to play. Opposition has a role to play. Obviously, the larger share of the responsibility falls on the government shoulders because they are the government in power, and I have the responsibility to be able to take care of everybody. And the National Elections Commission, being the referee, should also make sure that that does happen. But I will say this. I think at the end of the day, we will get through this process. We will all come back to where we're supposed to be, and we'll be able to, to see that Liberia will prosper. So yes, with that being said, Tommy, I think we can now call for studio to bring the guests.
Yeah, the studio can bring the guests. While the guests coming on, I would say this: we like everybody's saying, it's good that we all respect the Farmington Declaration and make sure that all parties should be represented at the various polling places, so that you can't come and just show up and say, "Oh, I was cheated," so we all know evidence. So we look forward to seeing it. And NEC should talk more. They are not doing much more. This is the first commission I've seen that's just not talking too much, not engaging the public and the press a lot. Man, I think it's a time that they speak up more and let the people know what's going on and setting the stage instead of waiting that things happen before they start to talk. Overall, much to say, let us welcome the national campaign chairman of the ruling coalition for democratic change, the Honorable Len Eugene Nangbe. Honorable Nangbe, welcome to the closing argument. And just tell us how's your health, how's everything going, how's life, and how's the campaign trail?
Firstly, I'd like to say thanks for the opportunity to appear again on your platform. In spite of the situation we had when I was in Buchanan, you granted me the opportunity to appear again. So I'm very pleased. Our campaign is proceeding properly. We are on course, and the reception from our people, I always describe our activity as engagements with our people, because the president His campaign started since 2018, and when he became president and started working for the Liberian people. So we are engaging them and ensuring that they continue to, work with us to understand some of the concerns that they have. We try to understand those and to continue to work. So our message is very simple: that we have done a lot, and we need the opportunity to continue the progress that we've made. So we are proceeding very well, and we're happy with the progress so far.
Okay. Yeah, that would just my first question would just be what we've been discussing. Will the CDC accept the election results, whatever results come from election? Will CDC accept the result of the election?
Firstly, you have to look at the history of the CDC. Even when the CDC was in opposition and there were irregularities, 2005, the CDC did, for the sake of peace, for the sake of Liberia, did not pursue any violent means, did not pursue any activity that would lead to violence in the country. In 2011, the CDC had issues. They still did not uproot the peace and civility of the country. So with that record, and even in 2020, when the CDC lost its seat in Monserrato and in other places, the president was the first to take up the phone and make a call to the member of the opposition who won the senatorial race. So the CDC has a record of, in opposition, accepting results even when they did not like it. And then in government, when the CDC lost elections, at the highest level, the president was one of the first to say yes and to concede and move the country forward. So who are those who are always not accepting results, even when they are free and fair? Even when they win, still try to protest their own win. That's the opposition. So I think you should have to redirect the question to those who are, even prior to elections, it's not a one-day event. There have been processes. This is the first time the government of Liberia, since our civil war, has 100% funded the electoral activities. Up to current, the government has paid at least over 96, 97% of all electoral expenses, in spite of the fact that we have to pay salaries, run the country, run the government, engage in activities to ensure that projects, to ensure that our people benefit. In spite of all of those, we have shouldered the huge electoral budget because we believe that democracy is so key to the development of our country. So the CDC has a record. The government has a record of ensuring that elections are free and fair. And even in cases where the government lost, we have conceded, like in 2020. So I don't understand where all of this is coming from, that people are already crying foul, even though the process is going on smoothly. Is it an anticipation of defeat? If it is so, then it has to go back to them, that why are you crying? Our electoral process is so transparent that you vote at a polling place, the votes are counted right there in the presence of your representatives. The result of that tally is posted for the public, and everybody can see. So where is this situation coming from that there is going to be cheating? We are confident because of our record, because of our history, because of the development drive that the president has carried out, that we can win these elections on the first ballot. And we are working very hard to ensure that this happens. How is that a threat to peace? How is that an intention to cheat? Can we cheat when you are there and we count all the ballots together in front of the whole world with cameras and everybody? No. So we have to speak to those who are advocating for or who are preaching the gospel of an election that will not be fair, peaceful, and transparent, because we have a history of transparent elections since the end of the war. we have had several elections and by-elections. And all of those elections, the CDC participated and considered accepted results even when they did not win. So the ball is in the court of the opposition and not in the court of the government in this case.
Tommy, you muted. I know you were saying something. You muted.
He muted, I hear me mute.
But let me go ahead and ask my question, because I would take a small break and then I will join you again at 5:30. I will take a small break at 5:30 and I'll come back to close the show. But I want to ask you a question, Mr. Campaign Manager. I'm trying to avoid calling you Commissioner Nangwe because I know you're on a leave of absence. So and I don't want to put you in any trouble. But the CDC has been accused. First of all, and I want to go, I just want to go to the meat of this. The CDC has been accused of using government resources. In fact, there is a purported budget out there that I saw. Somebody had a budget out there, say that you got a $50 million budget. First of all, is it true that your campaign, but you're the campaign manager, so I'm sure you know your budget. But is it true that your budget is $50 million? And is it also true that you're using government? Are you going in the government coffers to fund your campaign? Is that what's happening?
Absolutely not. And the $50 million figure that has been thrown around by the Unity Party is a part of their desperation, because they realize that they're losing the elections. They have to throw things around. I did, after we spoke the other day, I had to go back to listen to who was making the accusation. And, really, what is it to run a national campaign? What do we need? What do we want? And for me, the messenger is very important. Stanton, who made the accusation without listening to him, he alone pled guilty to stealing $114 million. So even if we had 50 million, so what is it for a whole country? If your one can steal $114 million, but we don't have it. I wish we had, because we want to reach every part, everybody, but we don't have that amount of money, because the campaign is being funded by our supporters, including all of those who sense to that. So somebody should ask the question: since 2005 up to the 2017, how had CDC been funded? Was the CDC in government then? Mostly by the president. When he was in opposition, did the CDC get thrown out of its party's headquarters for lack of rent? How was it paid? How did the CDC campaign outside of government? So when you say that because the CDC is in government now, we're using state resources, then it's unfortunate, because when the CDC was in opposition for 12 years, it still carried out a very strong campaign. It still carried out an effective campaign that defeated the ruling establishment. So the question should go back to those who are making the accusations. Somebody just write something and say, oh, there's $50 million, and that's coming from the government's coffers. It's ludicrous, and it's unfortunate, it's untrue, and it's just normal fake news. And when I said that Spoon TV has become an auxiliary of the Unity Party to project their campaign of lies and disinformation, my sister said, oh no, you benefited. How do you benefit from an independent media? Yes, there were people from the CDC and from the government that appear on Spoon Talk and Spoon TV, but does that mean that the core editorial policy has changed? The editorial policy of Spoon, driven by its indicted and beyond indictment CEO, is that they are projecting the agenda of the Unity Party. They have effectively become an auxiliary of the Unity Party, and we will deal with them as such. We deal with auxiliaries. If you're an auxiliary of the opposition, then we question your credibility. So for them to say that we have a $50 million, but even assuming it was a budget, they're so functionally illiterate that even if it was a budget, it's a budget money. A budget is a plan. But that plan that they put on the radio is not our plan. Our plan is to engage with our people. The president has been campaigning very rigorously in the towns, in the villages, in the cities to inform the people that he's running for a second term and that they should again give him a mandate as they did in 2017. And this is our pathway to victory on the first ballot.
So my last question, and then Keff or Jackie can come in. The issue of the first round victory, right? I have said, look, I don't have a problem with any party saying they will win on the first round, because at the end of the day, October 10, the people will go and make a decision, right? It is your right to claim that you want to win on the first round. But the question that I have for you, though, is I'm trying to figure out the pathway, taking into consideration you have an election with 20 people running, right? I don't want you to give me your campaign strategy. I know you won't, but I'm trying to figure out first of all, you are running against history here. No ruling party has won Montserrado County. Montserrado County is the microcosm of our politics. Everything happens in Montserrado, right? It has the larger chunk of the votes. I want to get your prediction on, do you think you're running this campaign? Do you think you're going to win Montserrado? And two, just give me a brief synopsis of how you're going to get to a one-round victory. How you get into 50+1 with such a polarized country, with such a divided country, and with so many people running for president.
That's true. If you look at 2017, if you look at the data and the statistics, even if you want to use that as a reference, there were candidates who got less votes, presidential candidates who got less votes than candidates who were running to be representatives and senators. It shows that what you are calling polarization is actually people projecting themselves without a base, without any pathway to getting votes, and are just on the ballot. So yes, 20 persons, but in the end, it will boil down to the strong candidates. We are running our elections based on science, on our projections, on our engagement with the public. And we have seen a pathway for a first round victory based on scientific evidence available to us. Now, I've heard a lot of comments that, oh, it has never happened before, and therefore is a recipe for war and violence. It is those people who are saying those things that we have to question, because our elections since 2005, you go and vote, they count the vote right where you voted, your agents are there, they sign on the tally sheets, and you can know your win or your loss. So how is it now that if we're saying that based on our performance, on the performance of Mr. President and President Weah, what he has done to impact the lives of the people, we can win on the first ballot, and we will win on the first ballot? And how is that being transformed into a cry for war? So those who are talking about war are the ones that should be questioned, because our scientific evidence, politics is not an art, it's a science. The science tells us that we are going to win on the first ballot, and we are working very hard, assiduously. The president drove hours, 6-7 hours, to meet people in remote hamlets and villages, because he knows what the people want for him to engage with them. And this is the basis for us to make the statement that we believe we can win on the first ballot. Be fair. The opponents who say they also say they're going to win on the first ballot, what are they doing? What have they presented? These are not new people. They've all been in government before, and we have the record to present to the people. So it's not that there are two brand new people running. These are people who the people of Liberia have assessed in the past and have made decisions on in the past. Is it not possible? The CDC won over 60% in the second round in 2017. What's happened to that 60%? Assuming we lost some of it, like 10%, what do you have? 60 plus, 50 plus. So the science says that we can win on the first ballot. So it is the emotion and the sentiments of the opposition, knowing that they cannot win, that are projecting this issue of there will be war if you say you can run on the first ballot. And I have conversation with some members of the international community and say, all we want you to do, look at the process, look at the electoral process, follow, bring your observers. If the CDC wins on the first ballot, what will you do? You have to give the right position to say that we have won in a proper way. That is all that we are saying.
Tomalin, you can take it now. Tomalin.
You hear me now?
Yeah. Go ahead. You keep breaking though, but we can go to Jackie. You can take it.
Okay, Jackie, go ahead.
Okay.
She says,
Mr. Nangwe, welcome again to the closing argument.
Jackie, what happened there?
It is not. You know, parties. But my question, hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah, much better now. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. You said to say that it's not auxiliary. Can you hear me, Mr. Nangbe?
Yes, I can.
Oh, okay. All right. My question to you is, you keep talking about this campaign budget, but I have credible information that the amount is actually, and you're right when you say it's not 50 million, because the credible information out there is that it's actually $58 million. So if it's $58 million, Mr. Nangbe, where is the money coming from? Even if it's $50 million or $30 million, where is the money coming from? Because I have information, credible information as well, that the concessions, this government has approached the various concessions, asking them for help for the campaign, and kind of like arm twisting their hands for them to help to fund your campaign. Because apart from the fact that money is being taken from the government covers, which explains why for so many weeks, the national budget was hidden from the Liberian people. Now I see it's back up. We don't know what information up there has been altered from or hidden from the Liberian people. So where is the money coming from? Where is the money coming from to fund? Where is the money coming from to fund your campaign?
No, firstly, I have to deal with your misinformation, what you call quote unquote credible information. Then you have to state it to the public. This credible information that you have, this credible lie, it is totally untrue that we have a budget of that size, that we have even projected. So for you to come on the public radio and say you have credible information, then you have to show, it's your obligation to show the credibility of your information. Because I came here and said that it's total fake news, lies, being coined and crafted by the opposition in a desperate attempt to pin the government back. So when you come on to speak to the public and say that you have credible information, you have to produce the credible information. You are the one making the accusation. And then secondly, when you say we are harassing concessions, then it's you who have to produce the evidence to that. Otherwise, you're just one of those who, giving your Unity Party membership, one of those who are trying to project falsehood for the government. Now, when you appear on the public platform, you have an obligation to the truth. And when you say, I have credible information, you have an obligation to show the credible information. Otherwise, the public will have to choose and decide that you are just projecting fake news. I have said over and over, which concession did we harass? Say it. No secret. Which
Ursula B. Mountain, they're out there, Western Cluster.
We harassed them.
Mm-hmm. Have they not contributed, because it's also illegal, because those are international companies? Have they? So you can answer the question, have they contributed to the CDC campaign?
I said absolutely not. And the only illegality I see here, which is an ethical illegality, is that you are sitting on a public platform and spewing out lies because of your Unity Party background. So you can say in the B Mountain, how have they contributed to the government? Unlike the past, this government, we have a system at the central bank. One of the lies is that all money is coming from the central bank. The central bank has a process, procedures. We are still in the IMF program. So even if $1 leaves from the coffers of the central bank, it has to be reported. So this money that B Mountain, according to you, gave, where is it? You name a few other companies. Where is it? Anybody can wake up and make Y allegations. Was it Mr. Weir that brought B Mountain to Liberia? No. B Mountain agreement was signed under President Salif when you were in the government. ArcelorMittal was signed before Mr. President became president. So how is it now that all of a sudden this man who met these people here is the one coercing them to bring money? So firstly, you create a myth, you create a lie that our budget is 58 million. And I wish, because like I said, your former boss stole $114 million out of Stanton for he won. So if we are running a national campaign to impact the people, I wish I had that money, but we don't have it. And it is untrue that our campaign budget is even close to that. How do we fund the campaign? Through mostly, how did we fund the campaign in 2005? Who paid for the CDC headquarters? Who paid for the CDC's rallies? Who paid for the t-shirts? Who paid for the cars in 2005? Who paid for it in 2011? The same Mr. President. He is the prime sponsor of the CDC since 2005, plus all of our supporters. So we have a budget that is meager. As a government, we are transparent. If somebody takes a dime from the government's coffers, you say the budget wasn't published. The budget is a public document. In the legislature, there are opposition senators, opposition representatives. If the budget has been temporary, let them speak and show how it's been temporary. But for people to come and create lies because they didn't manage themselves properly, the Unity Party been kicked out of the headquarters. They were kicked out for lack of payment of rent. CDC was in opposition for 12 years. Did you hear one day a CDC was kicked out for lack of payment of rent? So these people have no record of managing themselves properly. So they will come up with fake stories. So for you to repeat and regurgitate the fallacious refrain of the opposition is unfortunate because you are on a platform for truth. So I heard for reliable sources. State the sources, state the information here for the public to know and discern, because the public is a discerning public.
Mr. Nangbe, Mr. Nangbe, okay, here's the thing. And the part of the budget, the government budget, our budget, not the government budget, the people's budget, that is helping to even fund this campaign for 6 weeks, almost 2 months. The budget was hidden. The expenditure report was hidden from the Liberian people. It was.
Let me say something to you.
Was here, and I asked him why the website was shut down for weeks. He admitted that it was shut down. You just put it up.
No, listen to me.
You just put it up yesterday.
Listen, I can shout more than
because they complain so much. So a financial document is hidden from the Liberian people. What makes this government credible? My question, Mr. Nangbe.
How does the Liberian budget work? The president is not the one.
Mr. Nangbe, can I finish, please? And you can respond with the budget, how it works.
But why you want to finish when you spend more time?
No, you asked me a question, so I'm asking you back.
It's not a question. You make a statement.
It is a question, Mr. Nangbe. Please allow me to finish with the question. Then you can respond with the
budget.
I'm
not a moderator. Why are you asking me to allow you?
Okay, so
because I'm talking to you, I'm chatting with you.
Yeah, but what's your question? What's your question?
He asked me a question. So my question.
I'm not an interviewer. I can't interview you.
Okay.
Asking your question. Asking your question. Let's go.
I made a statement that you are ignorant to the budget process in Liberia.
Really, Mr. Nangbe?
Because the budget is not made by the president. Under the Constitution, the budget is made
Who
by
implements
the
the budget?
legislature. You don't
Mr.
know?
Yeah, but
Nangbe,
Jackie, let me ask a
let me
question.
ask my
Let me
question now.
answer.
He said I
Yeah,
should
but
ask
yeah.
my question. I'm
Yeah,
about
but
to
you keep
ask it.
interjecting every time
You
you
don't
try
have a
to answer,
question.
you interjecting with a question. So yeah,
Mr.
let me ask.
Nangbe,
Everybody
my
who did
question
civics,
to you is,
those who made decision for us to spend money in Liberia under the Constitution is the legislature, not the president.
my
The
question
president can
to you
propose.
is,
It's the legislature that spends money, approves money for the country, not the president.
Mr.
And
Nangbe,
you got all your
the legislature
Unity Party
doesn't
people
spend
there.
money. Mr. Nangbe, my question
No,
to
no,
you
no. I
is,
said to spend money, the president needs approval of the budget. Under the Constitution is the legislature that approves a budget. So I got to take it back to civics class.
Mr. Nangbe, my question here to you is, how can we expect that what you're saying is credible, or what the government is saying is credible, when they have hitting the financial? The legislature does not implement the budget. The legislature does not draft the budget that is presented
So
to
what's the
them.
question?
It is
Ask
the
the question now.
executive branch
What's
that
the
does
You
that.
ask question,
My question to you
you
is,
ask question
how
about
can
that
we
job.
believe what is being said by the government in terms of the budget, the expenditure report, and even the revenue envelope, when they have hidden data from the Liberian people for about 2 months now? All of a sudden, the data is popped up. We even need to find out if anything has been altered. So there are things, activities that are
You should have
taking
done it
place
before
every
coming on
single
air.
day. How can the Liberian people believe you when you guys are hiding data and information, including the budget and the expenditure report, from the Liberian people? So that's my question to you. How can we, the Liberian people,
You're not the
expect you to be
spokesperson of the
credible?
Liberian people. The Liberian people are not gullible, and Liberian people have comprehension, unlike you. The budget is a public document passed under our constitution by the legislature. So ask your legislators, the Unity Party legislators, who passed the budget. The president signed it publicly. So for you to say, how can the Liberian people believe? The Liberian people accept our constitutional process. It is you who are trying to twist it. The president can propose. It is under our law. It is a national legislature that can decide which monies are put in the budget and how they should be expended. So for you to ask me, say, how would the Liberian people believe? You're not the spokesperson of the Liberian people. The last time the Liberian people spoke, the elected president, we are.
I am a citizen.
Yeah, but when you spoke for Barker, he never got
Go to the
elected.
next person.
Liberian spoke.
The next person.
I didn't ask my second question.
Jackie, you asked two questions.
No, let me answer the question.
Jackie,
Listen, no, but
Yeah,
Ben,
okay, y'all go ahead.
you asked two questions already.
You took 3 minutes to answer a question. Let me take 2 minutes to answer at the very least. Her question was whining. When she voted for Joseph Barker in 2017, the Liberian people didn't listen to her. They voted for President Weah. So the last time the Liberian people spoke, they voted for George Weah. So you're not spokesperson for the Liberian people. The spokesperson for the Liberian people elected are Mr. President and the legislators. They, under constitutional rule, are the ones to prepare the budget. And since they approved the budget and the president signed it, it became public. What data are we hiding? Expenditure report every year. Just you got to learn to use Google, Jackie. Click on Ministry of Finance page. You see all of the expenditure reports of the previous years. You cannot give expenditure report in the year that the budget is being operated. So for you to say because of that, it means that the government is stealing money. People make reckless statements. This is the most transparent budget process ever. And I've been in government before. Go on the Ministry of Finance website. You see the budget itself. You see the expenditure report. You see the out-term reports. Every budget period. So if it is your reliance that your so-called credible sources gave you, then it's unfortunate because the government has shown, based on the approval of your same Unity Party people in the legislature, that the president is operating on. It is his job. We have a law. We have constitution. Who fixes it? Who fixes the budget and who expends the resources allocated in the budget? And if your sources believe that the president is not doing something properly, they can call a public hearing, and not a public a lie, a public misinformation as is happening now, that you and your colleagues in the United Party are doing, that they are trying to reinvent history, reinvent the reality, when the reality is that look at what is spoke about the central bank. Can you take money from the vault of the central bank like that? Is that what we're saying? The processes, the procedures for somebody with a check to withdraw money from the central bank are outstanding. We are still in the IMF program. The central bank reports to the IMF on a regular basis of their transactions and their operations. And then you come and say, oh, yeah, you got $58 million budget, and so it means we don't have it. It's propaganda that you are regurgitating, propaganda from the UP, which our people are not listening to. And which the public, because she's not a spokesman, no, she appointed herself as spokesman for the Liberian people. I have to debunk that. The Liberian people speak through their votes. And the last time
I admit that MFDB website was down. He admitted it on this show.
Let's get to Dr. Peabody, please.
So if closing argument goes down, it means you're stealing.
Yeah, it was down for weeks.
Jackie, you can't do this, man. Jackie, you can't do
when
this.
the website goes down, it means you're stealing. It's a technical issue.
You know,
the website can go down. You still have to come in with the budget. Jackie, you have to learn to do research, to read, to research. Otherwise, you come here and sound like some ignorant person. As the way alternative to reading and learning.
Oliver Nangwe, good to see you, and always welcome to the Closing Argument. Let me ask you a question here. Should the Unity Party be engaging the current leadership about corruption? Do you feel that they are in the capacity to even do that? Why should they even be engaged with about corruption? Could the Unity Party be engaged?
For me, we have to recognize that in an electoral period, people will make wild allegations. But that belief that people in Liberia are gullible and cannot discern is unfortunate, because the people in Liberia can decide and can discern. So the allegations of corruption that are being made is laughable, because I know people in the current leadership of the UP who've been indicted and some of them convicted of corruption. So the Liberian people can see and discern. So my focus as the manager of the campaign for the CDC is to continue to espouse the positives of Mr. President, his deliverables, his tangibles. And this is what is resonating with the public, both in Monserrado and in the areas we went in, the Leeward counties. So when I go back to Ben's question, whether there's a history that opposition, that the ruling party never ever won the capital city, then we have to look at other records. Now, in this case, we are interacting with our people. We have delivered, and because of that delivery, and the history is not that the ruling party never won the capital city before. There's records of that happening. But this new record, based on scientific evidence and based on the work of the president, is that we are going to win Monserrado and we're going to win Basso. He asked me for the pathway. We win Monserrado, we win Basso, we win Bong, we win Magibi, Lofa. Yes, will be tight for us. Nima, we'll put it up a great fight. And that's what we need, the Southeast. So is there a pathway for us to win? All we're asking these people to do is to respect the will of the Liberian people. Take your poll watchers there. Let them join us to count at each polling place, and let's see the results. But before we have even started to vote, they are already crying foul. And this is a threat to democracy. Before you even go to the polls, you're already crying foul. These are not new people. Mr. Barker has been in the public service for many years. He was the former vice president. The president defeated him. We had by-elections. We had senatorial elections in 2020. What happened? The CDC did not win Monserrate and a few other counties. Did the CDC, as the incumbent government, try to cheat? No. So there's no record. There's no history of cheating. The way our elections are structured, it is so transparent that you vote, you stand there, and your vote is counted, and the result is posted. Right? It's counted in front of everybody. So where is this cheating noise coming from? It's a defeatist mentality by those who know that they cannot win. And because of that, they are trying to throw spanner into the works. And we are not going to accept that. We'll continue. And I've spoken to some of the members of the international community. Start your voters, your poll watching early. The electoral process is not just the voting. It started since. Did the government fund the elections? Yes. Was the voters voting, the voters registration good? Yes. Are we allowing candidates to be free? Yes. In fact, right now in Basel, I just received a report. Some of the UP people tore one of the CDC banners. Where do you see that? I told my people, I said we'll make a formal complaint, but we're not going to react to them because we are in the driver's seat. We are going to win. What they are trying to do is to distract from our win, to try to instill violence. The rhetorics are violent, and we are the peaceful ones because our message is a message of our deliverables, our tangibles, and this is why the president is campaigning so hard in every village, every hamlet. Our campaign strategy is to go to every electoral district in Liberia. While they are in Monserrate, we are going out. We're in Monserrate also, we're going out. The president is campaigning very well, interacting with his people. And the response that we've gotten from the people is that they are determined to ensure that Mr. President has a second term on the first ballot so that he can continue to do the work that he's been doing, the progressive work, the development agenda that has never been derailed, even in spite of COVID, to continue to deliver for the people.
There's a number you talk about. You guys are going to win to Lofa. I know.
No, I did not say that.
And the rest are
a competitive fight. I'm very careful with my voice.
right.
There's a possibility that we could win because Mr. Parker become so unpopular. So,
because I know,
and the signs tell us that we have a competitive fight in Lofa.
Okay.
In the past election, the CDC won like under 7%. This time, we're going to put up a competition in Lofa. And it's exemplified by our support for Mr. Jala that made us to win in Lofa, in Mr. Parker's own backyard.
Do you think that the VSB for the Unity Party is one of those that voted in favor everything that for the Unity? I mean, the current government. He voted
for VSB.
What's his name? Jeremiah Cohn.
He never voted for President Weah ever in his life.
No, I say he voted.
Let's get that straight. He has never voted for President Weah.
No, but he voted on legislature. Everything in the Senate for.
I don't have the evidence of that. And I don't think so.
You don't think he voted on the side of the government? That's right.
But the votes are not published, so that's some of the problem in the Senate. So if it were published, we'll see it. So we can speculate. But my understanding, based on the fact that I know he has never voted for President Weah ever, but it's not important. In spite of the fact that he did not vote in 2017, the president still won by a landslide. So his vote is actually inconsequential to the win of the president. Okay. Even when he ran in him as senator, it was a tough fight. Ide Gonglo, Garrison Yellow was a tough fight between. He had to go to court for him to be certified as a senator. So he's not the choice of the overwhelming choice of the Nima people. He's an appendix to the choice of the Nima people. And the choice of the Nima people this time is that they recognize that the president has done a lot for Nima because of Nima's strategic position and the respect the president has for the Nima people. Unlike the respect that the 18-year service senator has had for them. So the president is going to Nima very soon, to articulate and work with the people of Nima to show that they are working together for development. Mr. Johnson said that the road from Ganta to Sacred Pied wasn't done by the president. A road that started in 2020. I mean, so the people of Nima can see, they can feel, and they know very well that the president has been impacting their communities, and therefore they're going to give him the mandate to continue to work for them.
Thank you.
Yeah, from Keff.
It's the Eugene, Honorable Eugene Nangud. Welcome to the closing argument. Okay, let me say this. When you listen to the criminal, when Unity Party listen to the criminal, Stenson Waters been coming up with 50 million. Yes, people are guilty. The talking point coming from a criminal shows the kind of party and the kind of people. It's a fact. It's a fact. It's a convicted criminal. It's a fact. But we all know they're doing this because they don't want the PYJ tape to go out there. That's a cheap politics they're doing. But we'll have to play it again so we can talk about it, let the people hear exactly what PYJ said.
But I want you to be careful. We are fighting for Nima country to take the lead, and Nima will win in the name of Jesus. Basa with us, Bapolu with us, Bombing with us, Lofa with us, Bon country with us. What is your problem? Then you on the radio on me. Hey, my brother, what I do?
All right.
You gotta change because you alone, your voice cannot cover the whole Berege. We're fighting for you. Equals our mama. Nimba will win. Abio bato the park. Abu make a paper a cocarozi. Kwaze Ido, and we did it. We are fighting for you. We're begging you people. If you make the man disgrace, it will be good for you. When you turn to the man against our prayer for you to produce vice president, the Omer is old. He take Kun to be vice president. When we win, then I could be doing the job for you. Can he go everywhere? No. The Omer is old. He take Kun to be vice president. When we win, then I could be doing the job for you. Can he go everywhere? No. But who does?
Okay. I want you to speak on it. He said the Omer is old. Kun will be the president. And by extension, PYG will be the president. I want you to speak on that.
What I want to say first is this myth that Prince Johnson has been projecting, that he is he's speaking on behalf of in the interest of the people of Nimba. He's been there for 18 years. He has sought his own personal interests. So he's not speaking for the people of Nimba. The people of Nimba are not stupid. They are smart, industrious. If you look at Ganta, you look at Kample, you look at Tapeta, you see that the people of Nimba are people who work very hard and they are progressive. So for him to still try to toe, that unfortunate refrain is not resonating with the people of Nimba. So I want people to separate the good people of Nimba from the selfish, egotistical, and parochial interests of Senator Johnson. And this is why he's struggling, because he is not, resonating with the people anymore, because the people recognize that they are being impacted by the development in their county. So Prince Johnson, we can't bundle him up with the people of Nimba. In actual fact, if we are choosing real Nimbayans, he's not one. He's from Galloway and Grand Crew. That's his parentage. Even Kun, there's no Nima named Kun. He's also from Sino. But the Nima people accepted them and they work with them. So don't preach ethnic politics when you yourself are not from that ethnic background. So our message to the people of Nima, from even Nimbayans themselves, is that Nima wants progress. Nima has progress. When the president in 2020, in December, when we went to Ganta to commission the road, Prince Johnson didn't show up. The road from that is now giving value to the people of Tonglewin, to the people of Frompa, to the people of Sacré-Pied, that they can drive in minutes instead of many, many hours. It was the president who broke grounds, and it is the president's government that is funding this road 100%, not a cent from any donor. It's funded by the taxpayers of Liberia. Why? Because that is an important economic corridor. So the people of Nima see, they feel the road, they feel the development. When the president, Prince Johnson said it was former President Salif that signed the agreement with Metal for the pavement of the road from Ganta to Yekepa and to the other road to Sanipole and to Logwatuo. But it was signed in 2013, 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019 before the work started. Why? Why not then? Because the president insisted that the concessionaire delivers on its obligations. And the government also subsidized some of the payments. I think based on my record, about $20 million or $10 million, I'm not sure. The government also did RAP. So how is it that why this road is not in Grand Cru? Because the president recognizes that Nima is at the center of our economic growth, and that the people of Nima are industrious, and he's not a tribalist or sectionalist. So the tribal politics that is being preached is not resonating. So I don't need to respond to Senator Johnson about the development that the people of Nima are feeling. They can feel, they can see. I told you I used to live in a small town in Nima called Afsa Ganta, called Tonglewin. I was hosted there by the kind people. I used to see bananas, plenty, oranges, edibles, potatoes. They're rotting because of a short distance, I think like 4 miles to Ganta. And now I went back to the same Tonglewin, the people are happy. Do you think this message from Senator Johnson will resonate with them when they know that the president has paved the road, that they can even use wheelbarrow to take their goods to Ganta, to the market? So this is why the dynamic has changed in Nima and in other places. And this is why we, based on the science, are confident that we will win on the first ballot. And I don't know how this translates to war. A campaign is being run. The people are responding. Our message is resonating. And the president is popular, both as an individual and also based on his policies that he has implemented, his tangibles, his deliverables. And then you say, oh, it will bring war. How? Of free, fair elections, how does it bring war? So those who are the messengers of war and the prophets of doom and the advocates of hate are the ones that we should bring to book. Why are you saying these things? When there is a record of free and fair elections in Liberia. When Dillon won, the president took the phone and called him and congratulated him. Did we like the fact that he won in Montserrat? No, but it's democracy. The tenets require that it wasn't required of the president. Maybe the defeated candidate should have called him, but the president said, I'm the leader of the nation, I'll make a call so the country can move forward. He won. So how now, this same process that you won with and became a senator, and others won with and became representatives and became senators, how now you are going to question the process, the very process? And it is the same process. This is why when I speak to members of the international community, I had a conversation with when the new charge d'affaires of the U.S. Embassy. I said, we have a record. Also join us to observe the elections, the process, not just the voting day, and see whether this is not transparent, it's not credible, it's not free, it's not fair. Because we want a fair election. The president won a mandate from the Liberian people, and he wants a renewed mandate from the people of Liberia. Not a mandate that is flawed or a mandate that is tinted with corruption. No. And this is why we are projecting. And this is why, in spite of the dire circumstances that we have funded the electoral process. This is the first time that the government has showed up this huge burden for the electoral process. And we've gone up to 96, 97% of funding for NEC because we believe that this is the right way, the democratic way. So for people to say that, oh, because of that, it means that you come in to cheat. How can you cheat when you vote and can't vote right there? So your job is to have your people there, have the media there, can they vote in the public glare. We are confident that we can win because the Liberian people desire for the president to continue the good work he has done. So Senator Johnson and his threats, because there have been threats, there have been riotous behavior, but as the government, we have to keep the peace, and he will be defeated freely and fairly. Why is he campaigning now on Motherboy all over Nima against Roland Duo? Before, he used to sit in Monrovia and just win. But the people of Nima have decided that his egotistical tendencies are not what they want. They want progress, they want development, and because of that, they're going to find alternatives. And the alternatives will not be Senator Johnson. Absolutely not.
Okay.
He can cause and do anything, but he's not going to be the alternative for Nima people because it's the Nima people who have spoken, not me. I'm not from Nima. They say Nima Yase. They mean Nima for Nima. So the Nima people are the ones who spoke, not me.
It's something strange.
So he attack on people who are non-Nibayans. Mean nothing. Call me, cause the VB, cause me. It doesn't matter. In the end, it's the people of Nima who will decide his fate.
Yeah.
And it's the people of Liberia who will decide to give Mr. President a second mandate.
Okay. It's something strange that I saw from my former network. I would say this because I know him and I know him, what we understand now, he pleaded guilty, he's a criminal. But he's showing a passport claiming that the government and the president selling Liberian passport. A man who sold fake degree in this country, that the entire country, every news media, local media, national media ran with it. He pleaded guilty. On his platform, he's showing a passport. I want you to speak on it also while you're there. Speak on the other information that I see they coming around saying the government signed gay right. Please speak on that.
Okay, let me start with the last question because firstly, for under our laws, sodomy is illegal, and for you to change the law, there is a procedure. Now, Liberia is a part of the United Nations and the international community. If you say you respect the rights of human beings to life and to liberty, does that mean you're supporting gay rights? No. So it's a desperate attempt by the opposition to try to score a point. Liberia has laws, and our laws are clear about sodomy and about homosexuality. Clear laws on the books that the president swore an oath to protect. Has there been any move to change our laws? No. Is Liberia part of the UN? Yes. If the UN says they recognize rights of all human, does it mean we're asking people to come and do gay business in Liberia? No. But it's a desperate attempt by the UP. And we all know it's not going to work or resonate. So for me, my attitude, if you make an accusation, it is you who are on obligation to adduce evidence. To say, oh, yeah, it's it. People try to change the law, they send a bill to the legislature, they want to do this, they want to do that. That's not happening. And I don't want to give it a lot of credence because the people of Liberia know that that's not, they know who the degenerates are. It is not the CDC nor the CDC-led government. Now, regarding what the other network said, listen, the last time we had a passport scandal wasn't under the CDC government. When somebody was captured on tape selling a passport, it was a United Party person, Allah, Vanish Sharma, on tape and trying to sell passport to a business person. So there has been a real serious attempt and successful attempts by this government to reform the whole sector of how people are issued diplomatic passports. Does it mean that there will not be criminal elements in the system that will try to steal? Because you can have the best system, there will still be people that will try to bypass the system and commit nefarious activities. So once this matter came about, they got to know because the Ministry of Foreign Affairs asked the Ministry of Justice to investigate. That's how it came about. No Spoon TV or Co-Spoon TV or Plate TV ever discovered it. It was the Foreign Ministry that wrote the Ministry of Justice to say that we've discovered that these people have passports and we're not sure how they got it. Can you investigate? And once it is done, the corporates will be prosecuted. When the former director of passport was found culpable, it was the government that initiated such, and he was dismissed and prosecuted. And later on, he got sanctioned by the US government. So we are the ones cleaning the system. The president is cleaning the system that has for decades been misutilized, misused. And this is all part of the process where we have people coming in, utilizing, and we're not even sure that the passports were generally issued. This is what the investigation will uncover: how they got it, whether they got it legitimately, wrongly, and I also listened to somebody saying that, oh, why is a white man having a passport? In every country, there are non-citizens that are granted passport to perform some rules, diplomatic rules. So, but if these people are not performing those rules and they acquire the documents fraudulently, they'll be prosecuted. It's like saying that, oh, somebody steal on Broad Street, you say, oh, why the president of the country and somebody go steal? People will always commit crimes. But whether you prosecute these people and you arrest them is the key. So yes, we're in election period, they'll put everything on the president. Look at Senator Johnson. He says the president who brought drugs, when he was the one giving charge to their drugs to go shoot people.
Seriously.
It's ironic. He said the president is a killer. Prince Johnson says George Weah is a killer. Amen. Is that not the epitome of irony? But yet, these are the things we have to deal with in our elections here. And there's a strong attempt to reinvent the history of the country and to make the heroes to be villains and the villains to be heroes, when it's actually the other way around. So yes, if people are culpable for stealing or issuing passport wrongly, through our due process, they will be dealt with. But to say we'll have a country that's perfect, where nobody will steal, where nobody will kill, where nobody will commit crimes, it's unfortunate. And also laughable, coming from somebody who himself pled guilty to a crime. And I don't know how it works, but people still listening to, you say I'm guilty of stealing millions, and then you are accusing people. It's, for me, time will tell, TWT, and in the end, the Liberian people are not being made susceptible to these allegations because they have no basis in truth.
Okay, Robert Gagwa, you ask 2 questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thanks for availing yourself to the closing argument, and it's great to interact with you. Look, you said something. You said a word that I just want to just pick it back, speculate. And personally, I don't like to indulge in speculations, right? So let's talk about the laws. It seems like we have a lot of these myth and misinformation being put out, partly because, and I stand corrected, but partly because um, there are laws on the books with regards to campaign and campaign finance. The question is whether or not those laws or these laws are being implemented or enforced. And so I want to ask you a question about the campaign regulation, finance regulation law. Um, uh, Article 5, which talks about the accounting and contribution aspect. And I want to ask you this question. I want to read Article 5.1, which says every contribution received by or on behalf of a political party or a candidate for a campaign shall be recorded and reported to the NEC by the campaign treasurer. And Article 5.2 states candidates may receive contributions for their campaign. All contributions received by a candidate shall be reported to the campaign treasury. So I don't want to dignify this $50 million stuff.
I wish I had it.
There's been no facts with regards to that. I want to see facts. There are also limitations on campaign funding as far as the for the presidency. They talk about 3 million and that amount not being exceeded. So I want to ask you this question with regards to this. Are we implementing and enforcing these campaign finance laws as it relates to reporting campaign donations and contributions to the NEC?
It's good you read the law, and the law say it should be reported. Did the law say when? When it should be reported? At what period? So let me just say this. It didn't say, what you read didn't say that. Because the law recognizes that you have to report after a period. So we are in compliance. We have recorded all of our contributions. And the CDC is not a new party that came into being in 2023. Since 2005, look at the record. The CDC has made its report in keeping with law in 2005, in 2011, in 2017. The CDC has complied with all aspects of the electoral law. And in 2023, we continue to comply. So we are not the enforcers. We are there to comply with the law. We are the ones who are we are the ones who should be compliant. Because you also asked me, say, are we enforcing? No, we are not enforcing the law. We are complying with all of the provisions of the electoral law, of the statutory laws, and of the Constitution. So if there's anybody, this is why I'm challenging them. Those who are saying that we are violating the elections law, they are the ones who feel that their rights have been violated, and there is a pathway, a legal pathway to say we challenge the CDC, and we're suing the CDC because we have evidence that you have violated the law. But do you know why they are not doing that? Because it's all hearsay, speculation, and fake news that they are thriving on for the sake of propaganda, with a vainglorious attempt to change the minds of the voters. But if they had real evidence, there is a channel, not even the courts, through NEC. That's the first step. But why are they not taking the information they have to NEC for the public to see? Because once you produce evidence on a quasi-judicial process, it means you have made it available to the public legally. So why are they utilizing surrogates and their partisans to make these allegations? Because they know that the CDC has a record of compliance, and that record will continue. So we are complying with all aspects of the electoral law.
So, but Mr. Chairman, before I ask my second question, just to push back a little bit, that law does require annual reporting, financial reporting per all political parties. So, with regards to that, implying, to the law, compliance to the law, can you state for the record that you guys have reported annual reporting of campaign finances over the years?
I went back as far back as 2005, and that the report has been given, because the law also has violation of the law also has consequences. So if there was a violation, the CDC will be banned or chastised, but that has not happened because we've been, like many other political parties, we've been in compliance. The reason they say annual, because you can receive $1 today and run to net to report $1. They expect that after a period, and then you make a report that net can review. So we've been total compliance with the law.
Thank you. I just brought that up.
We're confident that the yardstick that has been put out by the UP will be trashed, because if they could challenge it, they can say these people are receiving money above the threshold, above the ceiling, but they've not said that. They only come on radio, use surrogates, use fallacious information to try to denigrate the party. But the CDC has been compliant. Even the issue of party headquarters in 2005, there were inspections. In 2011, inspections. Some of the political parties can say that. They can say that. Place to place can't even pay their own rent.
I just brought that up because it's important. This is a national radio. This is a big platform, and so that is important. That as we discuss this issue, we are discussing them based on the facts. And I'm hoping that that there's some record that is out there for the public view, and to just verify some of these things. But let me go back a little bit in my second question about the this whole contribution thing. And I'll make a statement, then I'll ask the question. This is the reason why I continue to say that these elections against the Unity Party and CDC, it becomes difficult, because when Jackie and others question the campaign contribution, the amount, and so forth and so on, then people will ask, well, there are laws on the books, right? And in order to present yourself as the better party to do better than the CDC-led government, then your actions must reflect what you stand for. I mean, there was this big allegation here that Joseph Boakai went to Ghana to meet with foreign entities with regards to campaign contributions in the amount of $30 million and the auctioning of Wolagisi Mountains. These allegations have not been responded to with any facts whatsoever. We've questioned trips taken to Nigeria and other places, and every time we've done that, they've said, well, Joseph Boakai is a private citizen. Look, Joseph Boakai is just not a private citizen. He's a candidate seeking the presidency of our country. And until the Unity Party and others are able to draw this line, it's difficult to have these conversations with the CDC-led government. But let me ask you this question. Do you think that this whole tip with Prince Johnson, do you think that it really poses a serious national security threat to our country? And I don't like to indulge in hypotheticals, but let's assume that Joseph Boakai is elected president. There's a possibility. Right? There's a possibility. But do you think this is a serious national?
Let me clarify that. But no, I think it exposed the nefarious intent of Mr. Johnson. It did that, and it was an eye opener to those who did not listen to us when we said that this man is egotistical. People say, oh, but he was with the government. Yes, he supported the government. Why did he break away? Because we did not kowtow to his requirements, to his, what he wanted for himself, not for the people of Nima or for the people of Liberia. So he got frustrated at the very beginning because the president's too strong to say, no. Yes, you threw your support to me, but I'm running a government that would not subscribe to your nefarious tendencies. So where he is now, he believes that he can achieve that by basically he confessed to a desire to eliminate Mr. Boakai, at some point. And it's not me, it's not the CDC. It's he himself speaking on tape. It's also Mr. Kuhn himself speaking on tape. So it's not the CDC that's saying it. So it's not the CDC that should answer the question for them. It is they who are making these statements that are very clear and categoric. He said, oh, he will be sick, he will not be able, it's Kuhn who will run things, and meaning he will run Kuhn. He will run the runner. And that's what he said. Not I didn't say it, you know. And I keep hearing people saying that, oh, the Reverend spoke in church. And you know, firstly, I don't even consider the everyday face that he speaks as a church. Because it's a church. A church is a place of God, not a place of a devil, you know, that has a bad record. And I spoke in Nima once, and I told people, I said, look, if some of you believe that this guy was a savior, and perhaps you should look at the history of the war, you know, who committed the most atrocities in Nima. It was him. You know, and I'm not afraid to challenge him to these things because he has no pedestal to stand on to question the clean credentials of Mr. President. And we have decided to take him on. He has never been challenged in Nima, but he has been challenged now because the people of Nima, not me, nor the president, who is also not from Nima, but the people of Nima recognize the fact that this man has been about himself all along. They've given him 18 years to be a senator. Has he made laws that impacted the people of Nima? No. Has he made engagements to impact them? No. And they are recognizing these things. And because of this recognition, he's going to be booted out. He's facing a stiff challenge in Nima. You know, and my suspicion is that he might even come third, you know, to the CDC candidate. It's him, the independent candidate, and then, you know, he may be third if he works hard. And he's working really hard, but I don't think the people are resonating to his message. And because of that, he is desperate. How do you call a CDC person and say, oh, why are you doing this thing? Why are you leaving me? Leave me alone. Why you didn't let the people and receive me? If this CDC person, if Garrison Yelu or Gompu Kagon or Mark Bleon can stop the people of Nima from receiving you, Prince Johnson, it's a signal that you are on, you know, let me use, you know, one of the B words my men are using earlier, on a downward spiral, and not a trajectory. So he's in a situation where he realizes that his chances, I'm not even talking about the chance of former Vice President Barker, his chance to win the senatorial seat is under a serious threat because of the work that his opponents are doing, including the independent candidates and the CDC candidate. So this is why we see all of these loud noises, you know, the use of invectives and violent utterances from him is a sign of desperation. But this is just a beginning because we are going to we're taking the fight to his doorsteps. You know, we have had a big endorsement today. We had a big one previously, and tomorrow the elders are also going to do an endorsement for Mr. President because they recognize that he's making an impact for Nima outside of Senator Johnson, who has always been an egotistical bigot seeking his own interest all along.
Thank you, sir. Can I, Tomalin, are you?
Yeah.
You don't go to the meeting again?
No, I finished. I had to take a work call.
Every election is different. 2005 was different. 2011 is different. 2017 is different. This won't be a different election. It's not the same. This election, you have the Joseph Boakas is they call the rescue. They say the country is in the wrong direction. The country is heading the wrong way. They want to rescue the country. And you have Mr. Cummings say they want to fix this country. The country needs to be fixed and so forth. Now, as I listen to the campaign trail, those on the campaign trail, Nyenwolo says that the CDC made a lot of promises during the 2017 election. And the candidates that are coming up with these slogans on the campaign trail as tracking the promises made in 2017 to this point. And how do you counter the issue of rescue and fixing the country as compared to the promises that was made that not, I think about 24% of the promises was delivered. How do you counter them?
Okay, but you know me, I let it go to the grass, to the ground level. Did the president promise 14 military hospital in 2017? No, but he delivered that. Did he promise the Emirates hospital in his manifesto? No, but he delivered that. So when you are naming, did he promise the first row he did, the Clarendon row? Did he promise RIA row? No. So a government comes in and makes a general policy direction, and then the president subsequently develop a national development agenda, the PAPD. And under the PAPD, there are pillars that were captured. Under those pillars, he delivered. So for people to nitpick and say, oh, the president said he will give this amount of jobs. Okay, that was derailed to an extent by the COVID crisis. For 2.5 years, the world was shut down. So if you really want to check the president's tenure, and people don't like to say this, they say, oh, what's about Ebola? Ebola was only Liberia. We still have foreign partners coming in to help. And it was short-lived. But for COVID, the whole world shut down, and it took a while to come back. Yet, it did not derail his developmental agenda. So when I'm asking Nemot, and the other day I spoke to Eddie, I say, don't behave like an auxiliary or the UP. Don't help them. Because if you want to state the president deliverables, then also name those things that were not promised that were delivered because of the existing circumstances. Did we promise Emory Hospital? Did we promise the Invisible Park? Did we promise the road from Ganda to Sagripie? Did we promise the road to Sanikwele and the road to Yikepa and the road to Lugwatuo? Are these not delivered? So when you're citing those things that were not delivered, also cite those that were not promised but were delivered. And this is the message we continue to carry to the people. Because yes, there were some things the president said that did not happen as he said it would. Did the president promise to bring inflation down from 27% to 9%? He did not promise it, but he delivered that. So in every sphere, macroeconomy, infrastructure, and our governance infrastructure, did he promise that Maritime will have its own headquarters and I'll be paying $5-6 million every year? Did he promise that LPRC will have its own headquarters and I'll be renting? He did not, but he delivered those. So you have to juxtapose his promises, what obstructed the promises, and what he still did deliver in spite of the drawbacks. So that's my response to all of them. Name everything that happened. We have a laundry list of what happened. One of the key issues they always say was that the president said he will connect every capital. But if the work got stopped due to COVID, did he not connect many capitals? Did he not do more than he promised or other things that he didn't promise? So the question has to go back to the neighbor people. What are their benchmarks that he's using to determine that the president failed? When he delivered things that he didn't even promise. When he delivered all of the pillars of the PAPD, his development plan. On Thursday, we'll be relaunching the CDC manifesto that will state what has happened, what is happening now, and what will happen in the future. And so we're running a very stable campaign, organized and deliberate. So my answer to your question is, did he deliver everything that he promised? No, and no one does that. Even if there wasn't Corona that took away a big slice of the opportunity for the president to work. But did he not deliver extra that he promised? So I can name some of the promises that were not made, that was kept. Emory Hospital, 14 Military Hospital, Invincible Park, the Ganta Sacre Pied Road, the Lofa Road, the road from Banga to Salai, who is started on it. Okay, they say, oh, President Salif made the arrangement. Who actually effectuated it? It was the president. Who paid the rap for the road to start? Who went to the Arab lenders to say, spend some more money on the road? The president. Who went to Kuwait to ask for phase 2? The president. So let's name everything, not put all in a basket. Don't cherry pick and say, oh, the president said there were being these thousands of jobs. It didn't happen. It didn't happen because of COVID. He said you were going to bring this amount of investment, but he didn't check the fact that under his administration, we have more middle-class investments, middle-level investments, new cement factories. 2, actually. So Simeco doesn't have a monopoly anymore, and that has affected prices. The rubber factory, who brought it? The steel factory, under whose administration? So don't name some and leave the rest out, because the Liberian people are not gullible. They can see, they can feel, they have employment. You know, maybe people think when you say investment, it is the big concessionaires that should come. But that's not what drives an economy. Economy is driven by the manufacturing sector. And this is where the president has focused, in spite of COVID. The rubber factory, the nail factory that has come, the cement factories, there are Liberians working there. The steel factory, just a few that we can name and state. And it's not a mirage. People work there, they know. So when you say, oh, no investment has come, then it's fallacious because it's not the truth. Okay, maybe no big concession, because big concessions were already issued out. I think like 66 of them. So what do you do? What do you focus on? So people will have to understand that the president's agenda that was articulated in the CDC manifesto in 2017 and also articulated in the Peabody was that he will create a middle-income country by providing jobs in the manufacturing sector and doing value addition. Has he not done that? Has he not done that to expand cocoa and coffee growth? Has he not done that in the agriculture sector? Has he not done that in the manufacturing sector? He has done those things, you know, but people want to obfuscate the good work that has happened and say, oh, he has not done this thing, he has not done that, when they cannot adduce evidence. So the job of you, the panelists, the journalists, will be to put people foot to the fire with evidence. And we have noticed that the debate has not been evidence-based. You know, people will come and insult the president, including Mr. Baga. He went as far as the president chair. I mean, it was surprising, but I understand in a political contestation, people will make, you know, statements that they would normally not make. But has the president reacted in kind? No, because he is focused on presenting his deliverables to the Liberian people, his tangibles. And this is what we'll continue to do. This is the fulcrum, the quintessential fulcrum of our campaign, to project the good work of Mr. President, because they are tangible. You can see it, you can feel it. Do I have to go to Tonglewe to tell the people that, oh, now you can carry your goods to Uganda? They feel it, they see it, they experience it. Do I have to go to Fromba to say on market day? You don't even need, you can even use bicycle and go to Fromba from Uganda. Do I have to tell the people of Sacre Pied that now they have a paved road to go to Uganda and from Uganda to Monrovia in no time? Do I have to say that to the people of Salaye that can drive from Uganda straight to Salaye in no time? I don't have to do those things. Do I have to tell the people who sell cement that because of the alternatives and the competition that you have more than Cementco, you have 2 other cement factories that you need to have options? No. So because of all of these things, Mr. President has succeeded. Do I have to tell the people of LPRC, the employees, that now in your own building, they feel it, or MPA, they're in their own building before people are renting? The president made a mandate in 2018. And since then, the Liberia Maritime Authority has this new building, National Port Authority, Fisheries, MPA, LPRC, local starting their own, LTA. They got it there already, starting it because of the president's policy.
Okay, let me go my second question.
Chief.
Yeah, okay. I mean, it's true. I mean,
I mean, second question you got.
My first question I asked, you too long to answer that. But yeah, my question. It's true that the president free tuition is paying wire fees, all affected, all these are things that impacted the people. But on the campaign trail, as I listen to all the candidates on the campaign trail, the top candidates always slam the president with saying that what his policies are. How can you defend that he have affected the ordinary Liberians? Their lives have changed over the last 6 years, based on what he has brought to the table. So, well, yes, the Liberians have gotten their life has changed under the president policies. How do you defend his opponents slamming him that the ordinary Liberians have not the success have not trickled down to them yet in their daily lives?
No, I don't need to defend it because the ordinary Liberians are conscious, they can feel, they can see. For example, one of the major criticisms they always cite is the harmonization policy. The harmonization policy increased the salaries of more people than it decreased. It decreased salaries of few persons at the top and increased people at the bottom. That is what the pro agenda has always been about. So do I have to tell the people who benefited from this increase? Do I have to tell the 2,000 health workers that were being laid off that the president brought back on the payroll, or the so-called volunteer teachers that were placed on the payroll? No, because they feel it. Do I have to tell the doctors that there has been an increase in their pay from what they were making before to what they're making now? No. Even though people aspire for more, but they will react to the fundamental reality that they have an increase. Even the university professors had a significant increase, whether they accept it or not. That's the reality. So it is the reality versus the propaganda attempt to reinvent reality. And so we have a job to remind our people of all of the positives that Mr. President has done. And this is what we're doing in our campaign. It's about what has happened, what is happening now, and what could happen in the future. That is our ultimate message to the people of Liberia. And this message is resonating because the president himself is delivering it. The people can feel, and where there are deficits and where there are gaps, he goes to the people and say, look, how can we remedy this problem together? There's a record. B Mountain came to she mentioned B Mountain. B Mountain came to Liberia at the 2013 or 2012 or before. Who reviewed the agreement? Who asked and insisted that under this agreement pave the road from the junction into your concession area that's benefiting the people of King George today? It was the president. And who is reviewing lax agreement now to ensure that the workers benefit more? The president. And so because of these things, when we go to the people, it resonates with them because they see it. So our campaign is not based on lies, on fallacious comments, and on propaganda that's baseless, and on invectives against the president, and on insults. Our campaign is based on the tangibles that Mr. President has delivered. And they cannot match that. And they're already crying foul. Oh, don't cheat. No. Who has cheated? You were vice president for 12 years. You set up an electoral system that been working. Why do you not want this system to continue to work anymore? And I can say that the president took a constitutional oath to protect and defend the country. And this will happen. Our country will remain peaceful. The elections will be free, fair, and transparent. As you can see from the processes, observers will come and observe it. So there will be no excuse when we finally defeat them on the first ballot.
Thank you, Mr. Yeah, I got a question, and then Jackie, I think we'll go around again, right? Because we just hit the 2-hour mark. So I think we're doing very good on time. And
so how long going?
30 more minutes, then we'll go.
Yeah, we'll take off from the
people.
Yeah.
Because this show is on Truth FM, Hot FM, Puma. There's a bunch of other stations carrying it, I've been told.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, but let me ask you a question. You said something about the former vice president being in government. Is it true that your sector reported to him, the youth and sports and the agriculture? Because there is this thing about him. Listen, I've always stated that I have a fundamental problem. And one of my hesitations when it comes to Vice President Joe Buckeye's candidacy, going as far back as 2017, was the fact that he couldn't get a character reference, at least a character reference from his former boss. I think it speaks a whole lot that you work for someone, you serve with someone for 12 years, and they were still not willing to stand up and tell the Liberian people, this is the guy. You know, I mean, we saw it here with Barack Obama and Joe Biden. Barack Obama campaigned more for Joe Biden than even Joe Biden campaigned for himself. Because Barack Obama said he was the one in the room with me for all the tough decisions. You also was in that cabinet. I want to find out from you first. Did he have control of the agriculture and youth sector? And second,
it's on record.
Okay,
You know, Madam President delegated those responsibilities to him to supervise youth and agriculture. As the youth minister, yes, we probably have documentary evidence that he's communicated with me when he didn't like something, he's rating. You know, there was a period where he even asked for an audit. With, so he had supervisory authority over those sectors. But for me, that's not the point, because ultimately it is the president. But for you to say that your whole tenure of 12 years was you were packed, then at which point did you realize that year one, because if it was year one, then year two, you could resign based on the fact that you are not allowed to perform your constitutional role, because the vice president is also elected and has a mandate. So if you are parked in a garage and you did nothing about being parked, then it's on you, because you could have assisted with the president or made public the fact that you're parked. Not after the 12 years, and you say, oh, I was parked, and therefore I have no responsibility for either the successes of the government or the failures. You know, that's the classic case of running away from responsibility. You know, that, oh, I wasn't there. You know, accept the progress and then accept the failures and defend both of them, or concede to both of them. So yes, Liberia Youth Employment Program reported to him, and when I say I have evidence, I do have it, because he communicated and gave instructions. So to say that you had nothing to do with it is unfortunate. You know, but more than that, even if you didn't have responsibility as vice president, you were also a minister of agriculture in the past for years. Were you also packed while you were minister of agriculture? Okay, maybe we'll put that one aside. You're also managing director of Liberia Petroleum Refinery. Liberia Petroleum Refinery come the LPRC. Were you packed then? Or LPMC, Liberia Produce Marketing Corporation. You're managing director. So you've held positions where you could have influenced these sectors in a positive way. Why are you not championing those achievements? Instead of saying I was packed, say, oh, when I was Minister of Agriculture, I did this. Your record. When I was LPMC boss, I did this. When I was at LPRC, I did this. When I was a resident manager, I did this. But you have come and say and claim nothing, accepted no responsibility, and yet expect the people of Liberia to give you an opportunity again when you have opportunities and did not deliver.
And so my last thing on this is, what is your thought? What is the CDC doing then to help with the, because for some reason this election has, for some reason, and I've been a part of elections in Liberia, I've witnessed, elections. I've participated. For some reason, this election seems very, very, very divisive. It seems very contentious. I don't know if it's the effect of social media, but there is this notion, especially, I mean, when you listen to the Unity Party folks, if you don't support Joseph Boyka, then you're not patriotic, then you don't love the country. If you're supporting somebody else, it's either you being paid. What are your thoughts? I mean, and this is not a
No, it's actually a sign of desperation. People have been out of government for 6 years, and they see this as a final opportunity to get back in government. And based on the realities that exist currently, where they see that their message is not resonating, no traction for the campaign, yes, there are spots where you can come and rally a few persons, and then they cling onto those and say, oh, yes, we're doing well. And then if there is a scintilla of dissent, it is right away interpreted as an unpatriotic behavior. There should be no independent thinker. There should be nobody who will say, look, Mr. Weir has done this, he has performed better, I'll support him. Even some of the former Unity partisans who now have come to work with us, they're being denigrated. For us, it's a sign of desperation, a sign of defeat. And because of all of these activities, we just have decided not to react to some of the provocations, tearing banners. Why do you see the opposition go and tear the ruling party banner? We note it, we document it, we report to NEC, and then we continue our campaign. The president has been insistent, that he is in pole position. He has the constitutional responsibility to ensure that the country remains peaceful and safe. He has done that without international help for the past 6 years. O'Neill left as he was coming in. A big chunk of the foreign exchange import into the country was taken away, a big gap, over 200 million. Yet we managed, and we kept the economy steady. When I mention this always, people say, oh, it doesn't mean nothing. It means a lot. If inflation is at 27% and you bring it down to 9%, that's huge. But yet people say, oh, the economy is, you measure economy by these data points: inflation, depreciation of the currency. You measure it by the macroeconomic performances. You measure it by the monetary policies. The central bank was almost broken down when Mr. President took over because of the huge loan boarding from the government, who stabilized it, who put us back into stability with the IMF watching over with the stringent protocols, who stopped borrowing from the central bank, who stabilized the banking sector. Mr. President, he took deliberate decisions, changed the management of the central bank, imposed new policies, removed the central bank from the economic management team, renewed its independence, prevented the government from borrowing from the central bank, increased our reserve position by over 100%. The statistics are there. And yet you say, oh, the man didn't do anything. Without evidence, when evidence actually says otherwise. I'm cataloging these things. You can check it. The central bank, what was the reserve of the government of Liberia in 2018? What is the reserve position now? Check it. What was deficit in 2018? What is the deficit now? What was our general monetary position? Were the banks working well? No, they're working better now. Fiscal policy, how is it? Is it better than before? Our budget processes, is it transparent? Better than before? These are the yardsticks that you have to measure. Then you can criticize the president, but no. Nobody wants the discussion about those things.
I get Jackie.
That points. Nobody wants them. What they want is to say, oh, the president didn't do nothing, when the evidence is he has done more than ever before. And so this is the thrust of our campaign, to show what he has done, what he is doing, and what he can do again if given the opportunity. And the Liberian people, they've responded very positively, and we'll continue to engage them. So the president is out. Our campaign will touch every district, interact with the people. Mr. President himself will interact with the people. And we have received already a resounding appreciation of himself, and this will continue. So we'll out-campaign them because we have outperformed them, and because Mr. President will continue to deliver for the people of Liberia. You don't want to hear that? That's unfortunate, because you cannot argue with facts, and the facts are there. Inflation then versus inflation now. Macroeconomic stability then versus macroeconomic stability now. Monetary policy then, monetary policy implementation now. Fiscal policy then, fiscal policy implementation now. Let's compare and contrast, and the evidence will be very vivid for everybody to see.
Thank you. Let get Jackie to ask her, and then I think we got one question each, and then we'll go to the phone lines. Is that what we're gonna do? Tomalin, right? Jackie.
Yeah. After that, we'll go phone line.
Mr. Langbe, the recording from your chairman, Moba Molu, who said, and I quote, that the president exploited the presidency. This statement by Moba Molu contradicts. That means you are contradicting every single thing that Moba Molu said. He said that the president goes out of the country, collects money on behalf of the Liberian people, and come to Liberia and take the money and pocket it. So what, I mean, everything you saying contradicts your city, Mr. Nagbe. So my question to you is, why should the Liberian people re-elect this government when your chairman says that this government is massively corrupt, continues to be corrupt? The international body, the U.S. ambassador, they continue to call this government kleptocratic government. Why should the Liberian people re-elect the CDC government when the international reports show that this country, and the Liberian people have gotten poorer, hungrier? The investment climate has also gotten worse over the last 6 years. Can you please explain to why you contradicting what the national chairman Moba Molu said?
You gotta, you see, most of the reason why people can go to school to learn journalism, because you gotta learn how to ask questions. Anyway, firstly,
answer the question, Minister Nagbe. Moba Molu, answer it. Respond to it. You don't question other people when they're asking questions.
You can choose
so
your,
you can question how I answer your question. So please answer the question. What do you have to say about Moba
I would do it if you stop
calling this
interrupting.
government kleptocratic and the president?
All right, Mr. Cameron, please just answer her question, please.
Well, that's what I'm trying to do. She's interrupting. Don't you have rules that they
interrupted me, Mr. Guest.
Let him answer the question.
My answer is to first expose that she even know how to ask questions properly, because she started with a fallacious statement.
No, you will not go there with me, Mr. Nagbe. You will not go there with me and tell me I don't know how to do this and do that.
You won't go back and forth.
Let's answer the question, please.
Well, I'm trying to do that, and you're interrupting. You can't
let him proceed and let's see where it goes.
But I'm saying this is why people who are panelists have to have some rudimentary training in positioning the questions. Otherwise, she's just making a fallacious basis, a fallacious comment. That's totally untrue.
Do you want me to play the tape for you?
Because you play a fallacious tape. So if you have time, you can play after my question, and you can play. You have the airtime. I'm the guest. You're the interviewee. I choose how to answer my question. The question that you call question, which wasn't really a question, but or Unity Party propaganda a statement that we have to respond to. Firstly, your statement that the economy is down is untrue, because when Mr. President took over, inflation was at 27%. He brought it down to 9%. It's
That was
fluctuated
not my
to.
question.
But I'm not responsible for the fact that you know how to ask
My
questions.
question was for
I'm
you to
responsible
please
for my
speak
answers.
to Maba Molu. Tip.
I'm speaking to you. Mentioned the economy. I'll decide how to answer my question. Otherwise, you don't have to have me here. If you don't know how to ask questions, it's not my job to teach you how to answer questions. How
Okay,
to
so
ask a proper
apparently you
question.
don't want to respond to
No,
Maba Molu, but you
apparently you don't.
responded to Prince Johnson Tip, though.
No. Apparently you don't know how to ask questions, and you don't know my responsibility as a guest. You ask a long, winding question, and you keep interrupting me. It's unfortunate, but I recognize the fact that you have no training in basic media function, so I accept it. You're just a mouthpiece trying to project your Unity Party, and you're not even projecting it well. You mentioned the economy in maybe you forgot what you just said. I have a good retentive memory.
I said, why should the Liberian people re-elect
Don't
you
repeat
when
it, I
Maba
repeated it.
Molu is on tape saying the
You-
president exploited
But
the
you
country,
said
the
it.
resources?
What you said is different from your question. So what you said is not what I'm reacting to. I'm reacting to what you call a question. So leave me to answer. If you keep interrupting me, then this show will end up right here, because I will not let you talk again unless one of you move me on this. And I know that wouldn't happen. You ask a question for
Yeah, but I will
2
not let you
minutes.
attack me. Answer the question, please.
But your question was an attack. I got to respond to your standing so that people know that you're asking the question only because you surrogate trying to propagate the aims of the UP. And as a CDC campaign manager, I have to espouse that and expose that. That's the basis of your fallacious question that you call question. The first fallacy is that Mr. Molo didn't say what he said. Number two, you mentioned the economy. The economy, how do you measure economy? You measure inflation, fiscal stability, monetary stability. Look at the statistics, look at the data. You can just say, oh, the international community. Which member of the international community told you? Was it the World Bank that published and said the Liberian economy has improved? Or was it the IMF that congratulated the CBL for its for its monetary policy? Which part of it? Which part of the international community? You talk about corruption. Conviction for corruption started when? When you were an employee in the UP government, you didn't see the convictions that happened for corruption. And then you want to sideline that and say the president is corrupt. How? Has he been indicted for corruption ever? The person you are defending just pled guilty. One of your surrogates to corruption. So let's focus on the evidence, on the reality. You know, in the CDC, the president is not a dictator. He can be criticized, unlike some of your dictatorial parties you have. But you misquoted the chairman of the CDC. Chairman Molu has been a strong supporter of Mr. President since 2005. Up to today, he was campaigning in the trenches. So your attempt to regurgitate the unfortunate refrain from the Unity Party propaganda people that Mr. Molu and the president has a beef is unfortunate, it's untrue. Mr. President has run the country so properly that this evidence is there. When you talk about the economy, when you talk about creation of jobs, when you talk about our middle class and manufacturing sectors, the evidence is there. So where are you coming from with your fallacies, with your untruths, with your lies that the president has not performed? He has. You say we should go to Prince Johnson tape. It's not important. He has spoken, the Liberian people heard him. You know what is important? Is the fact that Mr. President delivered and the Liberian people are resonating to what he has done. And because of that, they're going to give him a second mandate. You play a tape, play it. Did Molu say those things you said? No. Is Molu the chairman of the CDC? Yes.
So can we
But
go?
when
We don't have
you
time for other
play,
people.
you let me play other things too.
Yeah,
Let me
that's what
play
I'm going to say. We don't want to go back and
Yeah,
forth.
I can play it for you
Let's get back
since
to
you said that's
Peabody.
not what he
want to
said.
play
Let's
things
get
for
back to Peabody. We only got 10 minutes left.
Yeah, let me ask my
you,
From there,
so you
we
can
move.
listen to it.
Yeah.
Minister Nangwe. First President Barker said the only person he wants to debate in this race is President George Weah. Is the president willing to debate with him?
But the debate started ever since. Oh, he was sleeping. The president has been debating since the campaign started with him, debating to the people. So which debate he waiting for? When the election over, before he will come to debate? So the president has been debating with the people of Liberia. He has been presenting his case, and that's what a debate is. So what does he want? The president to leave his engagement with the people of Sacre Pied to come to sit down with him, or his engagement with the people of Blodiala, or with the people of Sanquin to come to sit down with him? The debate is on already. He needs to join and wake up. The debate is on. Which debate he wants again? There is a debate ongoing. We had a debate yesterday in Gozon, in Lac, in Compound 4. That's where the debate is taking place. He needs to go there and continue the debate.
All right. Thank you. Can we get Keff Hassan, then Gagwa? Then Tomalin will ask the last, and then
Well, before I ask my question, if JMB can stand for 4-5 hours, then maybe debate. If he can stand on his feet. If JMB can stand on his feet for 4-5 hours, then he will debate. He can debate somebody. He can debate somebody who can't stand. But let me say this to you. Let me ask you this question. There was a referendum that was. There was a referendum that was rejected. Mr. Chairman, there was a referendum that was rejected. The president wanted the tenure to be reduced from 6 to 5. His picture was on the ballot. It took 2/3 to pass it, but it was overwhelmingly rejected. It is not a mandate that the people want this president to continue his next 6 years and the development that he's doing.
The president has been categoric about tenures. In fact, yesterday in Basel, he was clear that what's the need of a third term? He's not greedy, and we have to respect constitutional mandates. He said it in Basel, he said it in Abuja, he said it in Accra at the ECOWAS meetings, real ECOWAS meetings, and not the ones other people say they went to. And he has repeated those statements because after your second term, you have to exit the stage to allow democracy to grow and progress and allow new ideas, new mandates, new blood to come in. So he has been consistent about that. What happened was that the people misinterpreted the mandate or the underlying factors of the referendum. So yes, and as usual, Mr. President accepted the will of the people in the referendum. He's a true Democrat. He has never tried to skew the will of the Liberian people ever. In Monserrato, in other counties, when the CDC did not win, he has always accepted the mandate of the people. This is why it is very important to repeat to those who are already crying foul that, look, there is a record, there is a history, there is a procedure of elections in Liberia. Has there ever been a case?
But the question I wanted to ask you quick, the president got more than 50%. He got more than 50%.
One question,
and the people were on his side during that referendum. It's not an indication to show that there's more than 50% that the people listen.
The referendum threshold is different from the electoral threshold. So for the referendum to pass, there's a higher threshold that has to be met. So
but the president got more than 50%.
We gotta go.
Yeah, it's
Thank
not
you.
sufficient.
Robert Gagwa, please.
Thank you, Mr. Nightway. I look forward to the manifesto of the CDC. But when it comes to the manifesto and campaign promises and all of those stuff we talked about, the PAPD, there was a promise made by the government to uplift about 1 million people out of poverty. And while you answer that question, just chip this in there. Though when Jackie talked about this whole corruption thing and things like that, I'm baffled though as to why the George Weah-led government did not audit the Ellen-led government for the interest of transparency, because we needed to know what happened under that government. There were massive corruptions and stories and things like that. And one of my biggest disappointments is the president inability to audit that administration. But do you think that George Weah and the CDC kind of overpromised as far as the ambitions was concerned? I mean, uplifting 1 million people out of poverty that's a big thing. Why do you think that goal was not achieved?
To an extent, we did take more people out of poverty than we met. But you have to recognize that there were exogenous factors that affected the government's development agenda, including COVID and mostly COVID. Now, but in spite of COVID, we did score a lot of successes. So this is why we are championing the successes. Now, with COVID, the world shut down, economies broke down, yet we did not have our development agenda completely derailed. We achieved a lot. And then even after COVID, we continued the achievement. And I enumerated some of those achievements earlier. Some of those things that were not promised but were delivered. Emory Hospital, the road to Saclay from Ganta, major economic corridor, Ganta to Sanikwele, Ganta to Yikepa, Ganta to Logwatuo, and all of these major projects, major infrastructure projects that were delivered were done in spite of the potential drawbacks of COVID. Now, did we achieve all of our milestones? No. A national document like the PAPD, the National Development Agenda, is aspirational, and it is based on factors being in existence. So if those factors are not in existence, like the growth of the economy due to exogenous factors, then normally economists would not discredit your document because of those factors that were beyond your control, that were exogenous, including like COVID, that affected not just our economy, but the world economy. So, but they will score a mark. So you have to measure the progress against the drawbacks. And one of the critical drawbacks has been COVID-19. But that's not an excuse, because in spite of COVID, we still continue the development drive. So my answer to you is that yes, there were some aspects of the PAPD that were not achieved 100%, but you have to calculate the percentage of achievements under the PAPD. This is why the president continues to ask for a second mandate, so that he can continue his development drive and to continue to touch the people and to continue to improve all of the sectors of our society: monetary, fiscal, on the economic side, development side, the tangibles, the road constructions, the construction of critical infrastructure, hospitals, schools, and the like, because he requires this mandate from the Liberian people to continue what he has started, honor his current agenda and honor the new agenda that will evolve. So when I talk about our new manifesto, it captures what has happened, what were the challenges, what's happening now, and what can happen after the second mandate is given to Mr. President.
Tomalin, Josh, let's go to the phone line.
Okay, go to the phone lines quick. I'll just
skip, right? Okay, good.
Let's go to the phone lines.
studio, can you come in, please? Who's in this KMTV studio, or is it Truth FM that will be taking the calls? You'll come in, please, and let's take these calls. Henry, you want to go ahead and take it? Can you hear us, Henry? Henry, can you hear us? You muted. You muted. We can hear you.
Mute.
Henry, you have to unmute yourself.
We can't hear him.
He's muted.
Yeah. Henry, unmute yourself.
I'm trying to unmute him, but he's not.
Because he muted himself, that's all.
Yeah.
He muted himself. So. We can't hear you. We can't hear you.
Oh, we're not hearing the guy.
We can't hear you. You have to unmute yourself. Oh my God. Anyway.
But I don't know.
If you can't hear him,
but he put it, the numbers are really no use because how you call the numbers.
Exactly. We can't hear him. So.
But while waiting for the guys to get straight up, usually let me just run this for you. The Emma Sawyer Foundation, they organized a debate, but they said that so far they reached you're the only one who's they reached you because you're the get final saying for the VP and others to take part in the debate. They have yet to hear from you. Can you address that? Other candidates say, but you're the one who supposed to make the final decision on what are they with.
I don't know why.
Can you address that?
Yeah, like I said, so if we have not decided to stop interacting with the Liberian people just to come to an event, a stage event for a few persons, So that's our decision, We prefer the vice president being in Kokoya, interacting with the people of Kokoya, listening to them, reacting to them, then sitting in one hall, and basically, following a script, So that's our campaign strategy. We campaign with the people, we debate with the people, interact with the people, and our schedule is, perhaps if the vice president is campaigning in a village in the Zog area or in Tabeta, or she's campaigning in Sanquin, in Sino, if they want to join her to listen to her debate, they could do that. But for her to leave her interaction with the people and come to Monrovia, to sit on stage with people who just want to have a photo op or gain from her presence. That's not what we've decided to do. We think the Liberian people deserve to hear from the vice president more than from having a stage event of that kind.
Okay. Henry, can you hear us now? Mama, what happened to your sound today?
No, you don't want the place get too cold.
Oh.
So we have to reduce the AC. 000017665.
That is AC, baby. Go ahead. We can't hear the caller. So.
Very well from nations, that everyone
Okay.
Well, what's the
Okay,
question?
thank you so
We didn't hear him.
Who didn't get the question?
Henry, what was the question?
He's asking. Hello, are you there?
Yeah, go ahead.
Hello.
Yeah, Tomalin.
No, I will not keep you alarm because you have a dress back from your monitor. 0777017.
Okay, I got a call on line. Go ahead, Pape, go ahead.
Okay, my name is Augusta P. Flomo, and thanks for having me. And the boss man on the show has said everything, but I just wanted to say this. You know what, when President we had promised the Liberian people that he was going to do X, Y, and Z. There is something that says no man is an island. No country lives in isolation to other countries. When you play your budget, even in America, they consider what will come from China, from Japan, because America is not an island. So if COVID struck, it shut the whole world down. Even in America here, some of the promises that the Donald Trump government promised the American people, he did not achieve it. Why? Because of COVID. So if COVID struck, you cannot blame the president for not achieving some of his goals. And that is why he achieved some of the goals that he did not even promise. So everything will balance off. Thanks for having me, and God bless you.
I have a call on my phone.
Hold on, you call down.
Yeah, Jackie, go ahead with your caller.
She called it, brother.
Jackie, go ahead, caller.
Oh, okay. Hold on. The person. All right, go ahead, caller.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah, they can hear you. Go ahead.
Yeah, we're calling from North Dakota. Hello, Mr. Eugene Namwe.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Mr. Namwe, first of all, I challenge you to produce any documentation as it relates to your record tonight. I challenge, this is an open challenge. This is not only you. I know, NEC, our institution are very weak. There is no record. There is not only CDC relative to the question Governor asked. There is no record that I NEC that only came in and you made a report. This is a challenge to you. Secondly, you said CDC will win and it's scientific. The first thing, what makes it scientific, when Prince Johnson was a factor for your victory in 2017. United Party, the reason why you want United Party is very conspicuous. Any political party that go for 2 terms, the people sometimes just get weak about our political institution when they go for 2 terms. And the majority of the people would like to will wish to vote that political institution out. So that one of the reasons you want. And in fact, the LOFA issue you're talking about, Joseph Colley, you never fair your own candidate. I got ran in LOFA County several times. And are the people son? Up to now, you cannot feel prior to
What's the question?
Anybody here or in recent time and that person won.
All right, thank you.
Does he have a question though?
To the question, Jackie asked you.
Jackie recruited.
Hello? The question that they asked you about expenditure, the government expenditure, it's not true. That have been an issue every time they don't raising that issue. The government are not giving that expenditure. Even in recent time, the transport minister was asked, NTA was asked, relative to the budget.
Okay, can we move forward? Because I think he's...
And what he respond that he had not received or done, this is where all the buses are done.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Calendar.
Henry, you have if you have 2 years to clear, then we'll just move because of time.
No,
okay, let me just take maybe 5 minutes and then I'll put it from the side.
Yeah, he didn't get to 1 or 2 calls and then.
To the scholar, hello. How are you?
I can hear Henry. I heard a guy.
We're having a problem hearing you, man. I thought we fixed it.
Can I because I heard what the guy was Jackie.
You can't understand that I'm not getting you slow. We're gonna keep it on the line.
All right.
Let me ask the last question. That goes to the person. The person ask the last question. I'll ask the last question. Go ahead now. You're on live. You're on live.
Hi, you talking to me?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Hi. Good evening, my fellow Bulgarians and Mr. YouTube members. Welcome to Closing Argument. How are you?
I'm fine.
My name is Letitia Roberts, and I'm calling from the state of New Jersey. I'm calling regarding three issues I want to discuss with you. One is, I'm not a fan of this current president. However, when I heard that, I had most of my Southeastern brothers and sisters part of this government, I was very happy to hear this. However, you guys have been part of this government for 6 years. We have the Southeast that is close to the rest of the world, I want to say. You guys are traveling back to your own homeland through another country. How do you feel as lawmakers, people in authority, that you're not even helping to fix the road where you are from? And there are people that you left back there that need to come up to this part of the country to do other businesses. Secondly, I just want to admonish you on the approach to Mr. Jackson. As a woman and a panelist myself, I feel you have disrespected her. And I don't think the gentleman on the panel has protected her. Whenever she asks you a question, you try to talk, you denigrate her by how she asked the question. No one has a particular way of asking questions. All these people on this panel are not journalists. So you cannot disrespect her by the way you spoke to her. I take exception to that. Lastly, I want to say you are the very person saying there's no corruption when you were the one that said you were taking money from other coffers of other partners to cover dig hole to cover hole. I find it that today you can sit here and defend this government when there's so many things that we can point out that are not right. There's also a lot of nepotism in this government. And I think you should speak to those things. I thank you for your time.
I'll start with the nepotism business. Nepotism means Mr. President will hire his family who are incompetent into positions. It's not happening. So, my sister, you have to check again, or maybe you misuse the word. And about Jackie, I know her very well, but I'm on this panel to espouse the truth of the government. And if she comes with a fallacious comment, couched as a question, I have to point that out. This, maybe you people are misunderstanding what gender equality is and what gender respect is. I respect her as a woman, but as who's asking me questions, I have to respond appropriately. If I don't do it, that means I'm not respecting her, because I don't see a woman, I don't see a man. I see somebody asking me a question, and I respond accordingly. So if you want me to give her special treatment, then that's the disrespect, because she doesn't require special treatment. She can stand on her own as a panelist, and I can respond as such. So that's the second response to you. About what in the past, we said dig-hole, cover hole, it's about budget transfer. You move monies from one place, put it into another place to do what you need to do. It's not corruption. And I did not say that there's no corruption in government. I did not say that, because there are cases where people did breach the public trust. I mentioned the passport situation. Why are we having an investigation? Because there was something nefarious that happened. So you're misquoting me. And because we have so many issues that you raised, I think I have to go to the previous caller that spoke on Jackie's phone. And again, I don't know how to buy my talk. He lacked comprehension on the rudiments of government. He said, "Oh, one of the problems you have is that they never fix the budget properly." And twice said this. No, I articulated what the evidence is. the fiscal evidence, the monetary evidence. Wasn't inflation at 7% when Mr. President took over and reduced it to 9%? That's what we call critical economic indicator of a country. How you deal with inflation. He did it. Give him credit for that. There's another indicator about your foreign exchange balance in the country. How much money you get in the bank keeping so that in case of problem, Liberia get money. He quadrupled our balance, our foreign exchange balance. Is data, statistics is there, is verifiable. So when I'm speaking about evidence, these are the evidences I'm citing. I'm not guessing. You talk about Molu. I said she was erroneous because Molu, as the chairman of the CDC, has the full confidence of Mr. President, of the party, and of all citizens, and even our supporters. If I take it a step further, he has the confidence of even the opposition. So the comments that are being, the recording that is being skewed to present a case is unfortunate because we who respect Chairman Molu, when I listened to it, there was a point that said, here I had an issue. Untrue. Totally untrue. We work together. The campaign is under the party structure. I report to the party structure as the campaign manager. We have no issues. Absolutely. But the UP folks are trying to invent a problem. So, back to your question. If that was a question, we will continue to tread the path of promoting the developmental agenda of the development. His tangibles, what he has done as compared to what was done previously. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So I think we've exhausted it, Mr. Campaign Manager. I want to thank you for the time. We'll give you a couple of minutes if you have anything to say. You want to close or you done?
My closing comment is simple. That our campaign is on the right track. We are engaging with our people. We can win on the first ballot. Like I said, the science says it to us. He said, what you call science? Anybody that would challenge science, they're not ready. So I wouldn't go into detail to respond to that. But I also want to say this very quickly, that the media has an obligation to espouse the truth. And when I describe Spoon TV as an auxiliary of the Unity Party, I was right, because they have transformed themselves into that. And because of that transformation, they refuse any balance, any objectivity. And they spew hateful, negative, untrue, fallacious, false messages every time. But are the Liberian people responding to those messages? I would say no. So we're not really perturbed. But as a former journalist myself, I feel that there should be more obligation, more responsibility for the media, including panelists and hosts, because you also are utilizing the public space to utilize it for the public good. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Nambe, and you're always welcome. Hopefully this will be your last. But we want to thank you for taking the time to, to join us today. Gentlemen, I think Jackie's still in the back. We're out of time. I don't want us to keep the guys in the studio waiting too long. We may have a chance to maybe in another day or so analyze this interview. I think tomorrow we should be having Clarence Monimba tomorrow. And then we're looking at bringing other guests. He talked about NIOPT. Maybe we should definitely try to invite Eli Nyenwolo, who did this President Meter project. But overall, I thought it was, it was an engaging interview. Some people didn't like the, and let me say this before I give it to you guys, and then maybe I will close. What we're trying to do is not to be combative, is to get as much information out there. The Liberian people will make a determination for themselves. If they feel Eugene Amway is not telling the truth, they are out there. They know what he's saying. But the goal of an interview is to be able to go ahead and get the information out there. Now, yes, there is a point where, okay, yeah, you should be able to checkmate and stuff like that. And I think there were a couple of that being done here. But at the end of the day, we want to make sure that we give people the opportunity to come and explain themselves and explain their platforms. But with that being said, maybe let's go around the horn. Like I said, we have, I think, a few minutes left before the guys can shut this thing down. Tomalin, what are your thoughts? You handle this for a good portion of the interview.
Yeah, well, I will say this though. I know, I mean, I'm getting a lot of messages. People are giving that on the thoughts about the whole show. But yet and still, look, we're in a campaign season, 35 days to go. When you are in the driver's seat, in the sense that you seeking re-election, you send your surrogates out to come to the public. They're not going to answer the question the way you want it to be answered. They're not going to trap themselves. They're going to come and I mean, that's politics. They will defend. They will how to call it. They will evade. They will do everything possible, because you don't want your opponents to run with something on you and then carry it to the ballot box. So we ask the questions. And one thing I will tell people, you can't force the person to answer the question you want to answer the question. You ask the question, the person decides to answer it the way they want to answer it. You even follow through with it. They still evade it. You cannot force them, because that, like you said, Ben, the court of public opinions, they are out there to make the judgment and so forth. So Eugene did his job. He came to defend his the party, defend his CDC and the presidential election bid, and that's why they sent him for to come and do. The only time you want to get something accomplished, get somebody from, let's say, who for the UP. The UP get somebody from that on the same level with him, so you get your face to face, your face off. Then when then both parties can make their case. Because when two persons facing off each other, but you ask the person the question, they're gonna answer where they want to answer it, and then that's how it works. You call somebody from UP, from CPP, whatever they call. You ask them a question, they're going to ask the question to trap themselves. But if you bring the opponent to come before them to face off in front of Liberian people, then that way you have a serious debate coming up. So that's how it goes. But again, we do what we got to do. And for me, let posterity judge it. It's up to the people to make the decision. But that's how it works.
Let's go to Jackie. Jackie, what are your thoughts? You muted, Jackie. You muted. Okay.
My thoughts are, it's a sad day for CDC and the CDC government. Eugene Nangwe did not do a good job in defending this government today. He was very combative. Yes, he got easy questions, and when I tried to ask him a couple of tough questions, he became confrontational and combative, to some extent, and evaded answering the question about Moba Molu. He evaded answering the question about Moba Molu, talking about this president being corrupt. The tape is there. Everybody has listened to the tape. It's been around for the past 3 years. So he didn't answer the question about publishing the information with the campaign contributions and what have you. He didn't answer the questions. There's a lot of questions that Eugene didn't answer, and a lot of false statements that he gave today. He was a part of the Unity Party government. So if he talked anything bad about the Unity Party government or Madam Salif or the vice president then, Joseph Newman Boyka, then it's also a reflection of him, because he was in the government for many years, almost the 12 years. I think overall, he did a terrible job. But hey, again, it's up to the Liberian people, and being combative and try to sound condescending is not the answer, and that's not the answer the Liberian people were looking for. He did not come on this show today to justify why the CDC government should be re-elected. And the reason why he couldn't justify it is because he knows very well for the past 6 years, this government has done little to nothing. And he talked about the LOFA rule and the other rules, which he knows because he was information minister. He spoke on these things. The photo is out there with George. We are doing the groundbreaking ceremony with Madame Salif in 2017. The road fund was established in 2016, and the funds was already there. So there are a lot of false information that he provided today for the Liberian people. If he want, and that is so sad. So that's all I have to say. If he can talk about the Prince Johnson tape, he should also have been willing to talk about all the truths and the statements that were made by Mulba Maluk regarding President Weah and this government, because this government has failed the Liberian people on so many fronts, and they will not re-elect President Weah come October 10th.
Thank you. Peabody, no, Keff.
What I would say here is Eugene is the national campaign chair, and he came up and presented his party that what they've done in the last 6 years, and it left with the Liberian people. The decision here will be the Liberian people who are going to the poll on October 10th to vote. They are the one that's going to make that decision. He talked about what they did. He listed a long list of things of what they did, in regards to the Unity Party government. He said he worked in the Unity Party government before. Jackie worked there before. And I mean, who really can go against the CDC in talking to them about corruption, talking to them about poverty and all of that? I think the only party that we should be looking at is the CPP. They're the only one can really come up with saying, hey, corruption, this, but where can Mr. Boaga tell Josh Weah, about corruption and all of that? I think the only person that could probably stand up, since he has not served in government and he has no record of taking corruption or anything in Mr. Alexander Combs. Let's be realistic here. But I just saw it as a flip-flop for both sides from the Unity Party and all that. But I think Eugene represented his party well. He really talked about a lot of issues here very well. I think the citizen should be well pleased for what Eugene said here today, representing them. But Keff has something to say, and then I think
Keff.
The campaign manager, he was excellent always. Even when we're on another platform where he go there, he excellent. He can go anywhere. But the question is, I wish Jackie will not run away. The question I want to ask, why they don't come on the platform to answer the tough questions. Well, I know when I was on another platform, we all know before they come there, they will fight behind the scene because they don't want me to ask questions. But on this platform, we allow them to ask. And the same thing they're doing here on this platform, they're running away. So, and they keep running around Molu tape. Yeah, they keep bringing up tapes and that 6 years ago, 5 years ago, and shows that they don't have anything to say. So for us, those who listen to the campaign manager know that he stands tall. He explained it well, and this thing is a piece of cake for him. He can go anywhere, answer any tough question, and so. But the question that my sister was asking, I don't know. If I was in your shoes, I would ask a different question, not that question, because our question was just walk in the pack for the campaign manager. So campaign manager, excellent, always excellent. Even when we were at the other platform, he come there and he's always excellent. But let me say this. Monk Momalu Masakwe is calling to debunk what he can call now to debunk some of the issue that they said about him on our former network. He want to debunk some issue. And Monk is
who's he calling? Is he calling Peabody?
Yeah, I don't know. He needs to call. He's on the phone with you.
Yeah.
You're on the phone now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but
go ahead.
Yeah.
How you doing, sir? Thanks to
the closing argument for bringing me on here today. I had a lot of calls. Keff called me. Peabody spoke to me. But what was stated on the spoon talk yesterday about me as president, my dear brother George Martin, we are calling to go camping for him in Liberia, which of course is not true. President, we have never called me before during this campaign sessions. They kind of campaign for me because people call me, I did not listen to it, and I really appreciated the closing argument getting me into to do some clarification. And secondly, we all was in Liberia with you guys. Nobody took me hostage to President Weah. You guys can attest to it. You guys were there. Ben Sanvee was the only one that came in the room and said, "You're better upset." There I go. I said, "Ben, I will come on my time." And we support Nakim Oster, my brother. Welcome me, and you're very excited to see me. And we support nobody heard my hand say, "President Weah this." First of all, I would like to say this. President Weah is my brother. I don't want to know. He know me, I know him. There's no time President Weah have refused to see me. Never since he became president. Do I come every day and tell people I did talk to the president? No, it's nobody's business if I talk to the president or not. What we say, what we do is our business. And clearly, I heard that the Spoon said that I am not the first they came to America and called me to go see the president. President did not see me. That did not occur. I only seen this. It's not like I want to speak because I want to protect something. No, I'm not protecting nothing. It's a political season. We should be careful what we say about each other during the political season. Because now I'm on the closing argument seeing this, they may see you guys inciting me. No, you never did. You were only concerned. A lot of people were concerned and called me. You guys never did. You say, "Oh, man, can clarify something." You never did that. That's only people heard and people called me. So there's nothing going on like that. President Weah don't want to talk to me. It's not true. President Weah is my brother. I have nothing against him. He doesn't have nothing against me, but I never refused to not see me or talk to me. And it came to money issue. How Peabody sending me money? Peabody never send me money into America. Never ever. I don't want that kind of thing to go. You guys know me, Ben. You guys can testify that we all in Liberia. Nobody heard my hand to say if you don't see me, if you don't see me, you can't see me. None of that occur. You guys can testify to that. So I just want to appeal to whosoever on Stone or whatsoever talk show, the little talk show them calling my name. Oh, where is Mo now? Where is the no person? First of all, person, we have never promised Momodu Mo Masco a job. Let me clarify that. Not because I'm not in president, we are convert, it means that we are enemies. No, he can never ever be my enemy. I just want to clear that to the public and the Liberian people. So people that are using my name into politics, let them desist for it. Liberian people don't want President Weah, let it go to the ballot box and vote it out. My name shouldn't be placed in no propaganda or campaign or politics. I don't like that. I do have a family to protect, and I will have a reputation to protect. I don't like that. So I will tend to the closing argument to permit this time to clarify certain things. President Weah have never called me to tell me Monk can run campaign for me. Peabody has never sent me money for nothing, absolutely nothing. So I just want to clarify that. You guys were there. You guys are my witness. Nobody held my hand to keep me to President Weah. President Weah myself are never beefing. We're never beef. He's my brother. I'm a lawyer friend to him. He's my brother. That people want to know President Weah. I do not want to know him. I already know him. When our conversation, that people want to know him with boast. Our president called me. I do not do this thing. Ben Sanvee on the phone. On the call. Timmy George there. Kept there. Peabody, you guys are here. I know you guys long time. Long time. You have been knowing me. I'm not that kind of person. So I thank you guys for the opportunity given me to clarify these things, that none of those things occur, and you guys are my living witness. I thank you guys very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Monk. Well, listen, this is, like I always say, this is the silly season. And there are a lot of carnival barkers. There are a lot of clowns who are in the circus. That's what you get. And it's interesting because as I sit and I think, Tomalin, one of the things that I always say, and I like to highlight, and we'll soon go, I just want to say this before we go. Look, maybe, that's why I asked the question, maybe it's the social media thing, because now everybody has a way to express themselves. Maybe it's the social media thing. Maybe it's the thing where people who don't even have a pot to piss in now feel they have a right to say anything they want to say, and they can say anything they want to say about you. And listening to Monk is fascinating, because at the end of the day, we all know what the truth is. The truth cannot hide. They say truth crushed to the ground will always rise. And it's just pathetic. It's pathetic for what happened on Spawn to denigrate him and try to pin. I mean, there's a line. They say there's even honors among thieves. So for me, I continue to say it. Now, over the last 70-something hours, they've been flying around with a video clip. But the funny thing though, Tomalin, is this video is not hidden. It's on my page. This is not a video that somebody secretly recorded. I didn't call nobody and somebody recorded me. This is something that I said in, I think it was 2018, 2019. And guess what? And let me state for the record. One of the things that I know, and I know well, is that I am extremely comfortable in my skin. And one of the reasons why leaders appreciate me is because privately and sometimes publicly, I speak my mind and I say the truth. But I will also state for the record that, listen, I've enjoyed the last couple of hours, because we did. It was a funny thing that was going on with my friends in the Unity Party. Playing this video. Is Ben Sanvee on a ballot? Am I running for anything in this election? The Prince Johnson tape that we played and that is being played across the country. The last time I checked, it's Prince Johnson who said he's de facto on the ballot. It's Joe Boyka who's on the ballot. I'm not on a ballot. So I can understand that and I know where this came from. You know where it came from? An effort to distract, which is funny because at the end of the day, you can distract all you want to distract. But at the end of the day, the truth is the truth. But let's just look at it this way, Tomalin. Even in my criticism of President Weah on that tape, and by the way, the tape they're flying around with, I was responding to that buffoon that's on Spawn called Eugene Fagon, who, because Lima Bowie gave a speech, he came and he called her a prostitute. So I went hard. And you know why I went so hard? Because I was disappointed in President Weah for having such a buffoon in his government. And guess what? I'm glad President Weah fired him. So, but even in my disagreement with President George Weah, have I at any period or any point in time stated that Joseph Human Boyka should be the alternative to George Weah? In all of my disagreements I've had with President Weah, have I ever one point in time said, we want Joe Boyka, we want George Weah, but let's go to Joe Boyka? No, I've never said that. But let me say this. What hurts my friends in the Unity Party is this. Is that even in the point where if I do disagree, or when I disagree, or if I disagree moving forward, because there's no gap. Listen, I have fundamental disagreements with this government today. But do I believe that the solution to our problems rests in the shoulders and on the laps of Joseph Boyka? Hell freaking no.
35 days to go, and
let me finish. Let me finish.
Yeah.
Let me say this. And let me repeat what I said. And I'll repeat what I will say again. Of all of the things, if, and I wanted to hear it very, very clearly. All of what has happened, right? All of what has happened in our country, it is the arrogance that makes me sick to my stomach. The belief that you have a sense of entitlement. Today, you sit with an indicted and a convicted criminal. The last time I checked, I'm a free man in this country. You allow him to propagate your message. But when we were there, you criticized us, you abused us. If I am presented with the opportunity and the same scenario that I was presented with in 2017, I will vote for George Weah 500 more times. Maybe Unity Party needs to hear this. So this notion that you think you can play, go play tape. And on my page. The last time I checked, like I said, I was not on the ballot. They say I can correct photo. You know who Samuel Doe asked to recommend his vice president in 1985? Do you know who he asked? He asked Kekura Akpoto. You know who Kekura Akpoto picked? He picked Harold Monimba over Joseph Boyka. If Ellen Johnson Sirleaf had asked Kekura Akpoto to give her recommendation for who to pick, he would have overlooked Joseph Boyka again. So that's why I say, and you say my name Kekura Akpoto, that's why I overlooking him too. Because we have serious problems in our country, and we need serious people to solve serious problems. We're not gonna water down and minimize the problems that we face. And you will not bully me because I don't support you. So y'all can go ahead and continue. But like I said, like Tomalin can always say, there's 35 days left to elections.
And there's a big bombshell, they call it the October surprise that will change, that will affect the result of the election. It's coming up in the next 3 weeks.
And I would say this.
Some big things are about to hit the landscape that will change the result of the election. Guys, you're lucky your ears.
I enjoy you when you're breaking these news. But let me say this: to all
5 days
out there,
in 3 weeks, you'll hear that big bomb-shot. The election will be changed. The result will be changed.
To all the folks out there, I mean, I'm listening. See somebody human being and that were cussing me the other day. See somebody human being and that were cussing me the other day. On my worst day, you can't beat me. So I don't want to get personal, but I felt it was important that I say this. I felt it was important that I say this. And oh, by the way, even after that tape, George, when I went to Liberia, George, we have still welcome me. He still called me. Maybe that's something that the Unity Party people can take. Tolerance. They have put a blockade on closing argument because they say they will not come here and have their way. Tolerance in a democracy is important. So my Unity Party friends, the power that you want so bad, you even stay 6 years here in opposition. You're growling for power the way you're growling for power. You even stay 6 years yet in opposition because 6 years in reach it. You're growling for power the way you're growling for power. And it's all desperation and abusing everybody and threatening everybody. Hey, you think you can bully me? You got something coming. Because the last time I checked, newsflash, Joe Boyka wants to be president of my country, and we will critique him. George Weah is already president. He has a record. We know his record. Ellis Cummings is running for president. We know his record. You're the only people who say you got a record that y'all run away from. So y'all bring it on. Y'all bring it on. Y'all play every video that y'all want to play. But like I say, the mere fact that even though I stood up and criticized George Weah the way I did, and he can still call me to this day and still welcome me and still say, you my smart brother, maybe Unity Party people need to learn a little bit of tolerance. But listen, guys, I had a great weekend, like I said. I was enjoying the time with my family. I saw a bunch of these minions running all over because I hear that working. Hey, then when I call them minions. So I'm going to say it again. I hear a lot of your minions were running around the place. Y'all don't make me lose sleep, oh. Y'all don't want to be losing sleep over the foolishness that y'all can do. But it's an amazing time. We will be in Liberia. Half of y'all can't even go vote. Half of y'all can't even go vote. Y'all ain't even get voter card. Y'all here making noise, running all over the place like chicken with no head. And having got indicted criminals running around talking foolishness and thinking you have a stake. People, look, guys, let me not even get this. Because some of the people who even think they're making an impact in Liberia, it does speaks volume to the sick mentality of the people who claim that they support them. You have an indicted criminal talking foolishness. You can't look at me. The last time I checked, I can get on any plane. I can get in my Mercedes Benz. And yes, I do have a Mercedes Benz. I can eat anything I want to eat. I can go anywhere I want to go. Half of y'all living miserable lives. Miserable lives. And I saw the other day they put a collage of pictures with me with leaders. Do you know what that says about me? That I'm 42 years old, that every living president of Liberia know my name. Every important official in our country know me. You know what it says about me? Go ask your indicted criminal how he was begging me to go introduce him. It wasn't because of some of us. Y'all don't get me started. Y'all go play more tips. Y'all cut it. Oh, and by the way, I heard from President Weah. We laughed about it. Oh, by the way, I heard from Ellis Cummings. We laughed about it. And I repeat, if the Liberian people present us the same options they presented us in our runoff, in 2023, I will reject Joseph Boyka again. Y'all get vest, y'all turn around, y'all beat dumber, y'all jump anywhere y'all want beat, anything y'all want to do, y'all do it. Y'all don't own Liberia. You're not entitled to Liberia. And y'all will stay in opposition for the next 6 years. I'm done.
October surprise coming, guys. 35 days. I watch in 3 weeks' time. Yo, don't say I didn't tell you. Go ahead. Guys, see you, man. See you, guys. 35 days. I'll tell you result election. Y'all check me out.
Henry, thank you, man. Henry, thank you for being
here. Yeah, Henry, I see you.
Y'all have a good night. Robert, hold it down.
Y'all do another show tomorrow.
Yeah, because we gotta. I know Ben. Yeah, we'll do another one on this thing. Yeah, because I gotta take on this. But
yeah, I know, my man. Yeah,
we'll do another one on it.
Foolish people, they're passing around. They ain't even get to do the one open them up.
Well, folks, this is all the time we have to be with you here on the closing argument. It's been very interesting. We are sincerely sorry that we were unable to take some calls. Hope that tomorrow we'll take a course. And let me extend appreciation to the guys there at KNTV. That's the band of Patrick Wiesek, Ayesin Yiba, and the technical team for always bringing this program forth. And many thanks to the guys there at Hot FM 107.9 and other community radio stations for always relaying this program. And Truth FM 96.9 there in Nimba County for relaying this program as well. And to our church listener, we say bye-bye for now and join us same time tomorrow for another edition of the Closing Argument. My name is Heron Jada. I'll be in your company. Bye-bye from my end.